Good evening, all. Welcome to this week's Midweek Geek. I am the old geek, and I'm joined by Bear, Joker, Intellectual Quandary, and the accounting DM, Saxius in disguise. How are you, fellas? You all right?
We're good.
Well, apparently we don't need to answer. It's been answered for us.
Well, I am anyway.
I clearly heard Joker say we're good, so clearly I must be good. Therefore, I'm good.
I'll keep the catalog of problems that I have back then for next week.
Hello, chat. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Mr. Baker. Hello, Pidar. Hello, Brian. We have 5 showing up in chat at the moment. Hopefully, a few more will come in. We had a quick flash of Joker appearing then.
Roll for sanity.
Hello, Joker, with his lollipop. Was it Kojak, wasn't it? You've got the right hair.
Yeah.
Black
Who
on.
loves you, baby? Telly Savalas.
Yes. So we're here with a bit of gaming goodness to talk about this week. We do have a topic, but before we go into the topic, has anybody played any games recently?
I ran Heroic on Friday.
How did it go?
Very well. Saxius cried. As a viewer, as an observer, he cried. They're just trying to figure out that what they thought they were dealing with is not what they thought they were dealing with, and that they need to be a little less stupid. And then at the very end of it all, there was a massive reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Massive. And I use the word mass in particularly for that reveal because mass does matter. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and it was nice to shake the rust off. First game back since the holidays, so good. See, guys, that's how my recaps go. Short and sweet. Let's go into your guys' recaps where I hear the entire session beat by beat, please.
We'll go to Saxius first.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure. I've had 2. I had Heroic as well, which was quite enjoyable. Players are back in business. They are going out doing their thing, trying to gather up more information over what's going on. I managed to not only separate, but also give a moment of fear towards IQ as he decided to leave and go on his own little adventures in this story without telling anyone. So that was his problem.
Rune got me all excited. Sorry.
I play the NPCs the way that they're meant to be. You just choose to just go along without, because he didn't think we need backup. It's like, there you go.
Yeah, we were recon. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and apparently 14 sessions of you being with Exodus, the other vigilante of the group, hasn't taught you nothing. Aside from that, I've had 2 sessions of Session 0 with my Rogue Trader game, where it was 4.5 hours of making characters, and my Witcher mini campaign, which had one of my players go, I am afraid. I don't like this. The interlock system scares me. We did a mini session of combat, and he saw what could happen to his character.
Is he precious about his poor little character?
In one round of combat, we had a broken rib, a busted out knee, and a pierced what's it called, gut causing blood poisoning as well. That's round 1. Yeah. So he was sitting there going like, I'm afraid. Because he's played with me for about 2 years in D&D, where I've tried to maul him. Now he's going into a game where it's going to be so much easier.
yeah, he's like, damn it, Saxius has finally found a game that allows him to be as brutal as he wants.
Well, the dice help. It was nice to see that my Discord server's Saturday game was reincarnated last Saturday. Sadly, I couldn't play in it because I was at work. Hello. But Gingerbeard stepped in and ran a puzzle dungeon for various people. I'm hoping people enjoyed it. I believe Ernie's running Tomb of Horrors again. Is it this week or next week?
It's been
He
rescheduled
just
for the
messaged
26th.
about half an hour ago. Yeah,
Okay, good. Hello.
he's got
Jeff.
family visiting him this weekend,
All right, so we can't run it this week.
so we've postponed for a week.
Okay.
But yes, that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Did
And,
you play Call of Cthulhu this week?
Oh, we did.
Okay, so
we did.
I'll just settle in while you guys tell me the entire story of the entire session like you do every time. Let's go.
That's
Well-
my fault, to be fair.
Let's just summarize, shall we? It was a session which was just under. It was fairly short. It was only about 3 hours. It played about 3 hours. We had a little break in the middle, probably 2.5 hours. But the majority of it was player versus player conflict. We had characters being charmed, going insane, reacting violently to each other, trying to shoot each other, trying to stab each other. And I thought it was all rather marvelous.
Oh,
It
it
all
was,
finished.
but it was really freaking stressful too.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that, the time flew. Let's put it that way.
The time flew. And it all finished with a character who's been there from the start, walking off into the cold Bulgarian night towards the mountains. Carrying
you
the
killed
ceramic
everybody?
bag.
You killed everybody?
He
No.
just decided he was going to join his Lord Ithaca.
Huh? Can you give
What?
us an actual fucking description, please? I don't
Right,
know
so
who these
you know
people
how
are.
Harold has been on zero sanity for a while.
Yes, thank you. Now I
Oh,
know who it
he-
was. Thank you.
He finally made it.
He finally made a decision that he couldn't trust any of the other player characters. They were all conspiring against him, and he decided. He thought about murdering one of the characters before he left, but then yes, it was huge. Okay. But then he just
Was it Iman? Was it Iman? Did you think about converting Iman's
No.
character?
No, it was
It was
Joker.
Joker.
It was Joker.
No, it's the person that tried to shoot him.
Yes. You had a reason to try and shoot him. You had been charmed by Fenwick.
Yes, I had voices in my head.
You did.
No, we're talking about the game Joker.
That too.
But no, it was a good session. It was very tense. There was a lot of really good role playing, and everybody lent into it.
And again, the dice rolls made it so much more dramatic than it needed to be at times.
there have been so many times
Say that again.
that Harold could have died in the last few sessions if the dice had not utterly favoured him. But I like the fact that he was able to just sort of walk off into the night and just depart.
With somewhat of a heavy heart, we say goodbye to him.
Yes. 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 So Andy's bringing in a new character next week. As yet to be decided.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. We do have a topic,
Do we?
and that is the sort of the players versus the DMs in terms of guiding the session. Player choice versus DM narrative. How much freedom do the players get? And how much do we like to give them? How much do we not like to give them? How much narrative do we prepare beforehand? How much do we let develop? Ways in which we do little things to keep players doing what we want them to, but when they don't always know that they're doing what we want them to. And I think, as it was Saxius' topic, I think Saxius should do the honours and just sort of get us underway.
Sure. So effectively, when I was picking up on this, because I think there's a very clear distinction between when I describe what I am doing for my campaigns versus what John goes through. Bear has a lovely middle ground, which is always great, which we get to hear both sides as well as find the middle path. And we all three of us would like to turn around and pick on Iman for hearing what it is that he likes. So with that in mind, effectively, as is very known at this point. I'm very much a control freak. I plan out a lot of what it is that I am preparing for my campaigns, and while I do give the players the agency of that they can make their choices depending on the game we are running, I will either broaden or severely narrow how far I let them go. For something such as heroic, while I will let the players go out and do their things, be superheroes, it is within the confines of the city. I'm not about to have them gallivanting across the Midwest or into Central or South America, because I just have no interest in going there. It can be done, but I have no interest in that, and that's a part of what. Go on.
No,
Oh, sorry,
I'm
but
listening.
okay, fair enough. Whereas something where I know that picking on you, John,
Mhm.
you fly by the seat of your pants, and you just
Very
go
much.
like, okay, we'll have this point, and we'll see what happens. No, they're not going towards that point. All right, I'll just make something up and go along with that, and that drives me up the wall. When I hear the players sit there and go, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do all these plans, and they just throw their own plans out the window, and I've been sitting and preparing for these things, taking my time, investing into it, and then it's being changed. And I'm thinking, you know what? What are you doing with my time? And then I jump in, and then I have to improvise it and do as I've learned.
What would John do?
I insert giant if statements. If this, if that, if that.
You know what? Gaming with you must be exactly like players. It's like he said, all sexist players can do totally free as long as they filled out the appropriate paperwork. No. It's the Henry Ford statement. It's you can have the Model T in any color you like so long as it's black.
Yes.
Right? That's the sexiest style right there.
But it very much is, and that's sort of the discussion I would like to sort of go about. What is the players would very much like to have the agency for their characters, for what they are wanting to go out and they want to explore. Game masters are working towards creating a game that everyone can enjoy, and I do think that there can be times where where a group of players will derail things to the point of where a game master goes like, "What am I meant to do here? What are you doing? Like this is so left field. What's going on?"
Something
Well,
springs to mind.
Oh, does it now? Right. Well, that's me kicking us all off. Is there anyone that wants to have any responses to what I've just said? Well, Bear, go on.
Sax, you've watched all the heroic games.
Yes.
Now, think of the difference between when Beetle was alive and there,
Yeah.
and now Beetle's dead and not there.
Yeah.
What is the difference in the player's accomplishments and motivations?
So it did take a little bit of kicking, to put it maybe diplomatically. But with the death of Beetle and a very stern talking to from some NPCs, the players have realized that they need to focus. And there was a goal in mind. That was good. That's excellent.
But that's not what I mean.
Sorry?
That's not what I mean. When I had an NPC there, I could nudge and push them in directions I needed them to do to make decisions to do things. Yep. Since I've removed all the NPCs from them, just like the Codex Albana is slowly losing NPCs over the course of play, I leave it to the players to decide what they're going to do. And what have the heroic players been doing for the most part, other than, say, maybe Tyrannus?
They've been, circles. They have been
Chasing
running
their own
into.
tails.
Yep.
Right? So there's this idea that the game should always be absolutely the player's decisions and the GM is just there to roll dice and arbitrate the rules. And I fully disagree with that because the GM is also a player. Mm-hmm. The GM plays a different role, but they are a player and they should be having fun too. And nothing is more tedious than watching players chase their tail for 3 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours. It wears out real fast. And I find it exhausting to be constantly having these arguments about player agency versus game agency versus player choice versus GM choice versus story over plot over sandbox over this over that. Can we stop doing this to ourselves? We have clearly decided over years of having these debates on the internet, we're not in agreement. We're never going to be in agreement. And therefore, we need to stop thinking our way is the one true way and accept that everybody runs their table the way they want to run their table. And as long as the players are having fun, so be it. John likes to run a chaotic shit show. Great for John. I like to be a dirty, filthy story gamer. Great for me. Saxius likes to be like the GM of the SS. Great for Saxius. It all works out in the wash, so long as your players are having fun. And that's what it's always going to boil down to for me. Now, I'm happy to discuss tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff, but if this is going to degenerate into a my style, your style type conversation, why bother? We've done it 1,000 times on 1,000 blogs.
Yeah.
One thing I'm going to say about the your experience there with them chasing their tails. You, from what I've seen, you run quite a plot-heavy game.
You bet your bottom dollar I do.
And if you're in a plot-heavy game with a significant underlying storyline, which continues, though can obviously vary based on the player's actions, but there is an ongoing plot. In that sort of game, yes. Having prods to keep them on track, having NPCs to give them little nudges, absolutely. If you're not running that type of game, for example, Mage's games that he recaps, having played in a couple of those, we basically turn up, we've got a few plot hooks, we choose where you want to go. That's it.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's a completely, I would say, as you say, it's a completely different style of play. I enjoy both styles of play. I will admit that now.
Both have their strengths, both have their weaknesses.
I enjoy both styles of play. And obviously, what this topic more focuses on is on the plot-heavy style. That's what we're looking at tonight. I mean, obviously, Saxius, you came up with the topic. You tend to run a more plot-heavy style game with more sort of a little more
objective. It's definitely objective oriented. Like it, yes, there is. I mean, we all have stories in our games. I definitely go by the route of I want to achieve something per session. I have an intention of something has to be brought out or an event has to be achieved by the session. That is how I measure my games, is that have I managed to get this done? If yes, good. Then I have gotten them to the next stage. You know, how they got there, that I leave to them. But the other part of what I also shared is like we can share tips on how we cultivate our own styles, just so that we can share any tips with the audience as well.
I'd just like to delve a little bit deeper on that. When you say you want things to happen within like a session, do you mean story-wise or player actions-wise?
Either. Like there are beats, there are milestones I'm looking to basically achieve as we go through a campaign of mine, and then I very much take the overarching idea and I start breaking it down of like what are the major milestones within those major milestones, what are the sub points that needs to be done, is there anything below that? It's very much of like you've done bullet points in Word before, and as you start like breaking things down, that's how I approach it, and that's how I go through with it. So take the event of what you had in the recent session. You've met a character which has given you some rather big, moment of like, what's going on here? The group is now thinking, wait,
oh shit, yeah.
Yes, which was good. Now it was either going to be, that, it was going to be another thing, or there was going to be three things. So I try to go by the rule of three, of having some options that the players can say, right, left, right, middle, whatever they want to do, and I've got something prepared for that. Doesn't have to be detailed. It might just be as much as, go on.
I did notice that earlier on in the campaign when you give us basically 3 distinct locations to go investigate.
Yeah, rule of three.
But then, but now that you said it, I'm like, oh, yeah, he did it there as well, yeah.
It's a sales technique, right? The idea is that if you give the person 2 choices, they're going to pick the cheaper. If you give them more than 3 choices, they're going to beg off and not come back for the sale until later. But if you give them 3, low, medium, and high, they tend to then pick the one that's most desirable to them. Right? Because they can weigh the 3 options against each other, and they can sort of go, well, that's really expensive, but it has all this cool shit. This is middle of the road and gets the job done, and that's going to save me a shit ton of money. Well, okay, this is the easy thing to go investigate. This is more, it's got some stuff to it, and oh shit, that's the hard one. Then the players can decide and make a choice.
That's what we typically do in the shop. If someone's buying a new device, it'll be like, here's a simple cheap option, here's a middle option, and here's the top end. And these are the differences. This is the price difference. This is the what you get.
That's the sales rule of 3, which applies in almost anything in life, really.
Well, yeah, that's what I basically work most of my DMing around when I make a story. Is like give them options of free, because again, bearing in mind how detailed I can go into things, if I start having like 5, 6 options and I need to go just a plethora into each one of them, that's a lot on my end.
Yeah,
and I've tried it. It's too much, and I've just found that like I am overworking myself, and I was getting annoyed that people weren't asking the questions for the other ones. And then when they did, it was like, well, what? No, we were just wasting time doing that. So I wasn't.
It's the lack of return on investment, isn't it?
Oh yeah, spot on. That's exactly it. I wasn't seeing a return on.
There'll be a lot of preparation involved in creating lots of options for the players.
Yeah.
And yes, it can be a lot of sunk time that's not recouped, that goes nowhere ultimately.
But
so we'll say hello to a few people in chat. Bob's joined us, Michael's joined us, You're Wrong's joined us, Jerry's here. I don't know if I said hello to Halakar or not, but good evening, chaps. Welcome in. They're all talking about Smurfs at the moment.
Chat.
I believe the proper pronunciation is Schmervs.
Schmervs. Schmerv. So, as you were saying.
But going back to the whole method of free, but it doesn't have to be super detailed as what I might be making it out to be. It can be as simple as, here's the location, these are the characters that are occupying in there, and this is a little bit of the problem that they're dealing with, and we'll then get there when we get there. Because one thing I've found is that, if I prepare an entire campaign plot on the players picking that one versus the other 2, well, again, I've got a 33% chance that they'll pick right, according to me.
And the law of Sod says that they won't.
Yeah. So and I don't want to do the whole thing of like, you've got 3 choices, but they all lead to the same one. Well, ultimately, all roads will lead to the end of the campaign. How you get there is your choice.
Yeah.
So as such, I basically go down like, these are the 3 random things. You can either choose to go and investigate, you can ask questions, but if you choose not to do any of that, you will go in blind. Iman.
Hello, Straw. Hello, Swinthorpe.
And yeah, with that, you then also sort of get to see what it is that the players want to invest into. Bear in mind, what's also worth doing is one-time choices. When you make a decision, you've got 3 options. Whatever options you pick on is now the one that's going to be stick, because the other 2 is now null and void. You can't go back or be like, oh, I'm just going to go back to rooms or in there, or we're not going to go and check out this other site because it was showing up here. It's like, no, you've gone there, you've investigated this, now that's it. The window of opportunity.
Yeah. Time doesn't go in reverse. It's the world moves on.
Exactly, and
that's where if you have time-sensitive plot hooks. And yes, if time expires on one, tough shit. There might be repercussions.
Which this is an added element to that rule of 3 thing, because it's not which one do you want to go to first. It's which one do you want to go to. You might not get a chance to go to the other 2.
Yeah. Well, it's I learned this from I picked it up more and more that when I played video games like the Telltale games. You now have a choice of 2. It's like, okay, well, you now get to save one of 2 people. Okay, that's a big one. It's like, gotta make sure I've got this lined up. But whichever one I choose, that's it. I will have to restart the entire game to go back to that point to then see what happens if I choose the other path.
Yeah.
Yep. Come on, Joker, say yep. Everybody said yep.
Yeah. Hello, RPG. People are piling in there. Hello, I'm Manfred. Hello, RPG Dad. Hello, everybody who is arriving who hasn't said hello yet. So, techniques for bringing people in, sort of back in line. I'm going to come up with a first example, and this is something I did last night. This last night's Call of Cthulhu session basically started on a cliffhanger. Manfred's character holding a grenade, Andy's character holding a knife, both wanting bits of the artifact that were possessed by the other character, because they'd both fallen under the power of this artifact. Everyone else was going, shit, what do we do? How do we talk them out of it? Don't know. It was a very, very tense situation. Apart from Joker's character, who was unconscious in bed at this point.
At first.
And he was unconscious again later on. It happened twice during that night's session. But I let that sort of continue for about half an hour, 40 minutes, sort of toing and froing. They weren't really sure what they were doing. Manfred sort of calmed down a bit, but Harold, Andy's character, wasn't having it. So the way I actually sort of diffused it a little was I brought in a distraction. I had a drunken wedding party.
And who jumped at the chance to involve them?
Mike.
Me.
And you, yes. A drunken wedding party turned up. A group of innocent Bulgarians who were celebrating a family wedding, all with vodka in high concentrations in their veins. And that it actually
their blood plasma was basically vodka at that point, just vodka.
But it sort of refocused all the characters, and it got you all sort of thinking a little more protectively and a little more cohesively.
I mean, I'll level with you. For me personally, it was a good way to relieve the constant tension that would otherwise have been there.
Yeah.
Because everything that happened, it was interspersed with, I need more vodka.
Get more vodka. We need more vodka. Yeah. And then one of them got shot, so you had to sort of help him. So
I'm going to ask you guys a question. If someone attempts to shoot you and you shoot them, did you murder an innocent, or is that person no longer innocent because they attempted to kill you?
If someone is shooting you and you are armed, you can defend yourself. You are also in Bulgaria. So,
yes.
Bearing in mind, it's a very different world over there. Yeah, I can see a lot of the Bulgarians simply going, yeah, you did the right thing. I mean, I've talked to a number of...
They ordered room service. And I decided that the vampire Fenalik had charmed the barman. They went downstairs, ordered the room service. Then, while waiting for it to turn up, because he had to go looking for the vodka, Fenalik charmed him. So, a few minutes later, the barman arrives, because he's closed the bar up. He's bringing up some room service. They're closing the hotel up. And he's at the door, and I did drop hints. I said there was a very slow, sort of ponderous knock on the door. They open the door. And I did say that he looks unsteady and he sort of slurs his words when he says
yes.
And he had a glazed expression on his face, which was nothing like how I portrayed him when Mike's character had been down there ordering the room service. So there was a clue that something had happened.
Yeah, and I passed an extreme psychology check.
I must shoot Englishman.
Yeah, but I passed an extreme psychology check, and that didn't seem to do anything.
No, you failed that psychology check.
No, I didn't. I got a 2.
No, you failed that particular psychology check.
No, I didn't.
You did. Yes, you did.
I didn't.
Okay,
yeah, that particular
let's argue this out.
Please continue the argument. It's so nice and fun.
Anyway, so you asked Mike to roll for psychology. I said, can I roll as well? Because I'm also at the door. You said, yeah, and I got an extreme success, but you didn't say anything.
No, you weren't at the door.
I was.
Mike was at the door. Mike was at the door. You were behind.
Okay.
You were behind. You were back. It was Mike and Gregor who were at the door. And Mike failed that psychology check.
Right, okay. Okay. So anyway, he says in his... I think, I agree. But anyway, he says in his, slurring words, I must shoot or kill Englishmen.
English.
And then tries to shoot us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then, after he missed us, thankfully, ended up shooting Gregor, I pulled my gun out and shot him in the head. And then John's like, Iman, you murdered an innocent. You lose 1 sanity. I'm like, he's fucking not innocent. What are you on about?
I made you make an intelligence check to realize something, which you passed. And you realized that he was under the influence of some outer force when you passed that check. And that's when you realized that you'd murdered
of course,
innocent.
yeah.
If you'd have failed that innocent
thing.
check,
that's not the part
if you'd have failed that intelligence check,
that's not the part that I was disputing. The part that I was disputing was I don't think he should be classified as innocent, regardless of whether he was under control or not.
Would Jerome have been innocent?
No.
See, I say yes.
Well, no, see, I disagree, because whether he was under someone's control or not, he still tried to kill another one of our characters, and I tried to stop him.
So can I just step in and ask what this has to do with the topic?
Oh, it has everything to do with the topic, sir. Player choice versus GM control. The player saying, I don't think this is an innocent because he's trying to hurt us, and whether he's under control or not, he's still trying to hurt us. And the GM saying, no, it's an innocent. And now they're having an argument about the morality of the situation, which is actually player choice versus GM control realized right before our eyes, Saxis. You don't like it because it's chaos.
Yeah.
Because later on, Joker's character, Jerome, got charmed and was ordered to do the same thing. Shoot the Englishman. That's what
the thing is, Andy, I said before anyone else, I'm going to open the door. But you just said that Gregor got in front of me. I didn't have control over that, even though I said I wanted to open the door. It's my room. So you effectively took control away from me.
True, but
you took my agency. I made a choice. You didn't allow me to do it.
We'd already described the
psychology role.
William had already said that he was stood by the door, and Gregor was the one who was pushing for the room service. So that was the idea. Yeah.
I mean, your idea is one thing, but I said that I was going to do something, and you just went, "No, I'm going to ignore that because this is what's happening."
Okay.
The point is, anyway, regardless of whether I was at the door or not, I shot this guy. This guy was innocent until he tried to kill us. Then it's fair game.
Manfred, no. It was the power of the artifact that got you to be at odds. Yes, exactly. You'd failed your power checks. That was it. You were at odds with each other because of the power of the artifact.
And you were role-playing it exactly the way you should have been. Exactly,
yes. This is why you sometimes say, no, we don't need it. Anyway, I would have liked in that instance for someone for Mike to have passed that psychology check, because in my head, it was Mike and Gregor at the door with you behind the doorway.
Okay.
So I was going to give Mike first chance to do anything, and then because the guy brought up the gun straight away and fired. He was going to do that, and then everyone else was going to get a chance to act.
Okay,
that was the order I got in my head.
Right. Well, I wasn't aware of that. I said what I wanted to do, and I got ignored. So, anyway, long story short, no, this man was not innocent. Whether he's being controlled or not's not the point. He tried to kill us.
Long story short, too late. That was not long story short. That was long story long, son. Just so you know.
Yeah.
That took forever. You two debating about an innocent in a make-believe game. Come on now. Come on now.
Anyway,
Well,
Anyway.
it's only because it comes into the player choice versus GM control debate.
Okay, you can lie to yourself if you must, but I can hear the tension in your voice and the accusatory tone you're taking. So
The
you
tension
clearly
in my
bothered
voice
you. It bothered you.
isn't for John. It's more for Andy in chat.
Why? What's Andy doing? I don't even pay attention. What's Andy doing?
Andy's stirring.
That's okay. I'll break Andy in Codex Albana.
Anyway,
but seriously, at the end of the day, there does come a point where you have to be able to discuss amongst yourselves when things like this happen. And GMs need to be flexible, and players need to be understanding. And you have to find a middle ground as much as you can. Otherwise, it just degenerates into a butthurt argument where I said so, I'm the GM. Well, I don't agree, I'm the player, and then nothing gets done. And it just causes, I've seen campaigns end over this. I've seen people quit groups over stuff like this.
But that's the thing.
Yes,
I said to him, look, I'll roll for sanity. I don't mind that. I'm just debating the fact that you called him innocent. That's the only thing I took umbrage with.
Well, see, I agree with you, IQ. See,
there you go.
I
just the
agree
fact
with
that he
you,
defined him as an innocent man. I'm like,
but
I
here's
don't
the
know
thing.
about that.
Unfortunately, John is the keeper of his game.
Of course.
Meaning, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, according to his dictation, this is how he sees it.
It might not even be that. Maybe it says it in the book. I'm not sure, but you know,
it does.
So the only thing you can do at that point in time, IQ, is flip the table and at the top of your lungs scream, "This is bullshit. This is total bullshit," and then walk out the door. That's all you can do.
Oh, it's not like that. You know what I mean?
No, you got to kick the DM out of his own house.
One sanity point.
Yeah.
But also to that effect, with me being took over, and when I did come out of it, I would have. Well, when I do come out of it next after being unconscious, I won't have any. I didn't have any recollection of what happened, apart from thinking it was a dream. But so consciously, I'm still innocent, thinking is what happened was a dream. But the reality is, what I saw when we went downstairs is, did I really do this?
Oh, you mean when you woke up after you got taken over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
when my normal sanity resumed as me being innocent and no longer took over.
But you still remember everything you did.
Well, I think it was a dream, but yeah, when we went downstairs and I saw the massacre and tried to comprehend, was this really what I did? You know, or was it a dream after all? Was it Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, there is the moral question about whether someone who is mind controlled is innocent or whether someone who willingly submits to it.
It's not the fact that he's mind controlled; it's the fact that he tried to kill us.
Okay, I'm actually gonna. I agree with John on this. I'm sorry, on John on this one. He was mind controlled, therefore he's an innocent. If you tried that bullshit in a heroic game, watch your karma vanish. But they're attacking us.
Heroic.
Yes, but they're under the control of someone else. They're not acting on their own.
Yeah, but in heroic, I'm not thinking about killing people and trying to save the world.
If someone's controlling me, am I making my own choices, or are they making the choices for me?
But again, the objective in Call of Cthulhu, the objective in Call of Cthulhu is different to the objective in heroic.
I'm not talking about objectives. I asked you a direct question. If someone is controlling my actions and I have no free will, am I responsible for my actions, or are they controlling my actions?
Are you responsible? No. Do you have to suffer the consequences? Yes.
Well, then you are a tyrant, sir, and your morals hinge hard towards dictator. So
look. That guy didn't have control over what he did, but he still tried to kill us, and he was a threat, so I dealt with the threat.
He was a threat. Absolutely, he was a threat.
Yes.
But he is innocent.
Didn't doubt that. Anyway, it was all over one sanity point.
No, it's not sanity point. I told you, John. I said, I'll roll for sanity. I don't mind that. I just take umbrage with the fact that you call him innocent. That's all.
Well, yeah. Anyway,
because I wasn't arguing like I'm not going to roll for sanity. Anyway,
my point there, anyway, bringing up that whole thing was me bringing in a group of innocents in the form of the Bulgarian wedding party, particularly, in order to bring the characters back to thinking about how to progress and sort of divert them away from the issues that they were having with each other at that point.
But didn't you also initially say they were technically supposedly being in the bar, so they were part of the story anyway?
I retconned that.
Yeah, I know you retconned it, but they were.
Yeah,
they were meant to come in somehow, but yeah.
Well, it is mentioned as an option to use other guests in the book, and this is how I thought I'd do it. It doesn't say how to use them. It doesn't give you any sort of specifics. I just thought this would be a good way of bringing it in the moment. And Peter, I used my dirty, filthy storytelling to advance that game. But the players still had the choices in how to push things forward. Just they had a new responsibility. So I think that is, for me, the key is that I give my players as much freedom as I possibly can within the world. And every so often, if they are roaming a little bit, it depends what sort of game they're playing. Obviously, Horror on the Orient Express is a linear campaign. But if they're roaming a little too far off, then I'll often bring in a little event or an NPC to just steer things back in as much as possible.
One other trick that I like to introduce is at the beginning of a campaign, most players are finding their character. A DM doesn't entirely know what kind of character it is. Now, I know that for Bear, you run your when you're advertising for some of your games, you come with pre-made characters that has their personalities and the likes, which I've never really done that. So you'll have to step in and probably fill any gaps that I might not be addressing correctly, because from my perspective, the players are finding their characters. The DM is both establishing the world, but also seeing how the characters are meshing in with the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I often try to go, let's say, 4-5 sessions in, and then I will try to sort of prompt a direct question, usually in private, to the players, where I go like, okay, we've had, some time now to play. How are you finding your character? What do you like about them? Where do you see their North Star going? Like, where is this going towards? Because I think I had conversations like that with my heroic group, where I went along the lines to sort of establish what the characters were. I'm going to pull you in on this, Iman, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I did approach, and I have had a talk or two with you about quantum logic to basically establish, who is he?
Yes.
What is it? And basically sort of establish, what it is that you want out of him. And do you feel that is something that has helped you find who you are playing better?
Definitely, because obviously the idea that I have for my character and the way that I want to role play him in my head might not be conducive to what you have going on in the campaign necessarily, right? So I wanted to lay it out to you, like, this is what I think of him, this is the kind of things that he does, this is the way he thinks, the sort of thing, and then you can sort of not plan around it. You get what I mean, though. Like, you take it into account and then adapt accordingly. Like, if I give you something that I want for my character in terms of like a story hook, you'll include it. If I tell you something that you can use to beat me with later, you'll use it.
More to the latter.
No, the beatings will continue until morale improves.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I love that quote. But yeah, so that's something that I go out and I try to do. I've also done it with my Sunday, the group who's now doing The Witcher, where I think we were about like 10 sessions in, And I said, right, what have you achieved? Because when we started at session 1, I asked every single person, like, why have you come to the new world? And now we're 10 sessions in, and now I'm having a moment where you're sitting around a campfire and you are all reflecting. And I reminded the players what they said. And I reminded the players what they had achieved so far. Not diminishing what their original goal was, but I was trying to so bring out, you have made decisions as a group and as a player that for some of you, you've deviated very far from your mission or from your original goal. And what does that make you feel? How does that make you reflect upon this? And which some of the players actually sat down and went, I hadn't thought about this. But they were glad that I brought it up because now they were having to think, well, what is the point? What, not the point of my character, but what is the goal of my character? What is it that I'm achieving now that I'm realizing I am not on the path I set out? I am on a different path. How can I adjust my character and my goals now to suit where we are headed? And that meant that the players at that point were in an unspoken way, they were now unifying more towards what they were doing rather than it just being, oh, we're just, we're playing once a week D&D and we're doing that. It's like, no, we've got something now. We've all had this conscious talking to, which they liked. How is that sounding for everyone else here in the panel?
Very much.
I mean, with Quantum Logic specifically, I feel like Exodus as a character does that for him.
Yeah, well, that NPC is very much somewhat one character I've thrown in there where it's like, well, if I could, I would absolutely love to play him, but not going to happen. I'm happy for him to just be a side character because he started out with just being that and another NPC, and now he's this established member of your team who is just no nonsense. We can't do this. You don't share information about yourself.
Yes.
Bit of background about
and he's the
about
only
Exodus.
person.
Bit of background needed about Exodus. Is he a player character or an NPC?
He's an NPC.
NPC.
He is an NPC. He was introduced as a vigilante who was a hard nose. Who, when the players were talking to him, he said, "I'm not talking to you until you put your wrist out, so I can measure your blood pressure and your blood pressure and your heartbeat, because I want to see if you're lying to me." So that was the first thing that he established. Like, I don't trust you from the get-go. I will only trust you if I can read what your blood pressure.
Straight away, that you've established that he's got an innate sense of justice about him, though.
Oh God, he is.
By doing that, it's like, you will not lie to me.
He's very much a no-nonsense kind of character. He does not like whenever characters say, "Oh, I went to see my dad." Like, the moment they say this, like, "I know you now have family. I want as little information about you. I want everyone to be compartmentalized. I want to know nothing about you, because if I'm kidnapped and if I'm tortured and if I am interrogated, I have information about you."
So Quantum Logic was like, yeah, so my mum and dad were in hospital. He's like, no, too much information. Now I know you have a mum and dad. And he's like, Quantum Logic's like, everyone has a mum and dad.
But they have this.
Everyone.
No, but obviously being Quantum Logic, that's what he would say.
But it's the play of the two characters. But again, Exodus being the kind of character who goes into the extremes. That's the.
It sounds like a battle of wits between two autists to me, of different strains.
He's not really an autist. Quantum Logic is, but Exodus is like blunt, to the point, harsh, says what he needs to say and no more. Quantum Logic will talk your ears off.
That could be an autistic trait as well.
I suppose.
Yeah, but the spectrum for that and the definition of that is very wide. So that's neither here nor there. But I get the picture you're painting with it.
But yeah, it is the battle of the minds.
Yes.
Ooh, Northorian gifted some memberships. Who got them?
Thank you, Nosorian. Thank you
very much.
Cheers, Nosorian himself is a member for 13 months. Huzzah! So, being of Saurian descent, how long until you become extinct? Very bad attempt at that joke.
But isn't he not Saurian though?
If you look at his picture though, here, Why am I pointing at my screen? You can't see me. I'm pointing at my screen.
It's just a John moment.
All right. So, Bear.
What?
When people are chasing their tails, going round and round in circles, how do you beat them with the get on the plot stick?
I don't.
Do you do? You don't.
I let them chase their fucking tails. And I let them keep chasing their fucking tails. And I let them chase their tails longer and longer and longer until I get bored. And then I have a plot point happen that they have to deal with suddenly.
Well, that's what you do. Yeah.
I don't stop them. I let them. I say, chase your little hearts out. Run in circles. Come up with all these crazy theories. Maybe one of your theories that you're blabbing about is better than the idea I had. So I'm going to jump on that if that's what comes out of your mouth. That could be great. I don't know. I let them run their mouths because you have to. You just have to.
Do you not have like a cut-off point though?
No.
At all?
Yeah. Oh no, I do. It's called my boredom.
Okay.
When I am no longer interested in watching them chase their tails, I will do something to them.
Fair.
Doesn't your facial expression give things away before then?
Do you want to know what my face looks like when I'm doing this type of stuff? Where they run around in circles?
I've seen that facial expression quite a few times in our Codex Saldana games.
You don't say.
Yeah.
It's my, well, let's see where this fucking goes.
2 hours later?
What bullshit are they going to come up with now? Like, okay, in the heroic game, knowing that they're dealing with someone's killing superheroes in the city, they were presented with 2 possible theories as to why the people who have been targeted. One was, well, all the people killed so far have no powers. And the second was everybody killed was involved in the action where the opening of the campaign where they rescued the other superhero team from the big bunch of bad guys who were connected to the crime syndicate that is basically like a worldwide mafia. Clearly, it's all about some people with no powers. That's what we have to focus on. And they went on forever. At one point, had an NPC mention, well, but the other connective tissue is you were all, on that thing together that you did. No. It's all about the fact that the people who've done it. So they came up with this massive plan where they're going to have nerds character be bait, and it was just insane. It was just watching them, and they were convinced, and I'm just watching them going, Jesus Christ!
You were thinking, no,
it's a shiny thing is right there, and you're running 500 yards that way. Let them go.
They ignored the vendetta and took the other.
Let them go. Let them run down that road. See what happens.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of letting players go off and talk amongst themselves for as long as they like. I do that. You may have noticed on a Tuesday, I let you lot go quite a lot, discuss things, talk amongst yourselves, because as Bear says, it puts ideas in my head. The things you discuss put ideas, and almost invariably, someone will say, "Oh, better stop talking about that," or John will get ideas. By the time someone says that, it's already too late.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, one of my players, my buddy John. Sadly, we're not friends anymore, but that's neither here nor there. He always had his notebook, one of those little spiral binder, 6x9 notebook, thick ones. And he would take notes every game, but he also had a page where he had written in block letters with marker the words "shut up" with 5 exclamation points. And whenever someone would be giving like a really good idea, yeah, but you know what it could be? It could be blah blah. He'd just hold it up. He'd just be like, "Shut up! Stop giving the GM shit to hurt us with." And it's like, yeah.
It's a tried and tested
technique. That's what you don't get to enjoy with your hyper anal retentive style, is you don't get to let the players give you the stick to beat them with, and then you miss out on that joy of watching them being hoisted on their own petards. Yeah, I get it. It's I just spoke in Spanish as far as you're concerned. I completely get it.
Yeah, but like I
Onda
think
es biblioteca. I understand.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, yeah, thank you.
I mean, Saxius has already come up with all the evil schemes himself. That's the thing. Like, he's probably...
So basically, your evil schemes are better than any other evil schemes, is what you're saying.
How long have you known Saxius for?
Not long enough, apparently.
So I don't mind the players having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I mind having the players waste the time that we have.
Yes.
Once I start finding that it goes in circles, I will step in and I will say, okay, you are going in circles, wrap it up. I am tyrannical, I'm not hiding that. And I will tell the players, right, you are making a decision now. Here's the bullet points of what I've been hearing. Bam, bam, bam. Make a decision now, and let's get a move on.
I can tell you one group, though, that didn't work entirely 100% with.
Are we going to hear about the fucking goblin story again?
Yes.
We're not going to go a week without it, and at this point, like I think my reaction to it is just going to drop.
We should start placing bets on how long it takes for him to mention it.
Yeah, we need a bingo card for these things where each of us has our own bullshit that gets called, but we
Better
always have
idea.
goblin stories
Better
the center
idea.
fucking square, you know? John riles Saxius up. Well,
Saxius talks about killing his player characters.
Yeah, Bear pontificates about something that he just talks out his ass about. You know, like there's a bunch of ones we can put on.
Bear talks about how much he hates D&D.
I don't do that anymore. Do I? I think I stopped.
Anymore.
Did I stop? I don't know. I can't remember.
You like to mention you like to mention superior games.
Yes, I do.
And one of them is called Heroic, and you should definitely go and support the Patreon.
Someone shilled Heroic instead of Bear. Check.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
So, but back on the topic, Saxius. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of an adventure I've run as a one-shot several times. The adventure, it's a published one, provides you with about 30 pages of a detailed plot, lots of NPCs, and quite a thorough description of a small town where it's meant to be set. Every time I've run it, the group have wanted to go to a nearby bigger city that's not detailed in there at all. How would you react to that?
So is the entire story based in that town?
Yes.
Okay. And we are working on the assumption that during session 0, you have not made any of this clear to the players.
You can't in that adventure.
You can't.
No.
Right. So the players are going to go there. My questions are going to be boiling down to what are you looking to achieve there? So what's the point of you going there? If it's going there and going back, fantastic. If it's going there because we don't want to be here, okay, well, now we got to do something about that. Have you ever watched the TV show called From?
No.
Yes, I watch it religiously. I love that show.
Mm-hmm. So, John, you drive down the road, and you keep driving, you keep driving. You come back to another town. Oh, look at that. That looks quite familiar. You keep driving, you keep driving, you keep driving. You come back to another town. It's the same one. Now you start driving because you need to get out of there. But you keep coming back to the town. Well, now there's something else going on. And now you have a reason to investigate so that you can get out of that goddamn town. Now, I don't know the full details of this campaign you're talking about, but there are a number of ways you can do that. We have Ravenloft be the greatest way of a DM going. You are in here. You are going to be in here until you achieve something to get out, or you're in here till you die, in which case we will recycle your soul until you are a blackened husk. Because that's Ravenloft. It's delicious that way. There are a number of ways that you can do this with if you don't need the players to go out there. It doesn't have to be as ham-fisted. You can be as gentle as simply going, hey, we're going to play a game. It's going to be based in this small city. I I'm going to ask all of you, stay focused on the city. If they, on this small town, let's take it from there. And then that's all that the players need to know. It's a hook. It's a buy-in from all the players. They've all agreed we are playing this game with these conditions. Fantastic. Let's go on with it. And then the players still have their choices. The DM has got their control. I don't see much going wrong with that. Again, that's just down to communication.
I mean, my general approach is it is a Call of Cthulhu scenario.
Sure.
So it's a modern day one. It's my favorite modern day one. It's Forget Me Not. And the point of them being in a small town is that there are limited facilities there. And the reason why they want to go to a city is to take advantage of greater facilities. That's the point. They try to, we obviously need a bigger place to get hold of what we need or get whatever service we need.
So there are a number of different ways you as a DM can restrict them. Okay, you don't have enough petrol in your car. And the town here is currently waiting for the next petrol one to come through because the local farm has been guzzling it up into his tractor. You've got a number of different ways you can get them stranded there. They drive out there, their car's going to break down or run out of fuel. Easy enough for that to do. And it's like, okay, well, now you've got to start thinking outside the box. You have limited resources. Get creative. You can't call for help. You're isolated. Welcome to Call of Cthulhu. Why? Just like that. That's a part of the buy-in.
Sounds kind of like Freeway Fighter.
I mean, with the way the scenario is set up, it's difficult to limit their travel. It is difficult because it does talk about cars being in it is one of the important parts of it. There's a garage owner that they meet very early on. So it is already laid out that there is access to transport. And they have access to funds as well. That's already been laid out by the time they find this need to travel somewhere else. So it's just one of those things. But what I did is I rolled with it. I knew nothing about this city nearby. I had to speak to Halakar to even find out how to pronounce its name. But I just bullshitted and made it up because that's what I do. And I let them go there. I know nothing about that place, but I let them go there.
You ever get the impression that I just bullshit and make it up is just for his wedding vows?
It's a recurring theme.
I'm noticing it.
Yeah. But that's my response generally to players deviating from the plot is I try to bullshit and make things up. And then I do try and drop something in at a later time to try and drag them back. But I'll let them go these other places. And I'll roll with it. Now, 20 years ago, I'd have probably panicked. Oh, I don't know how to do that. Exactly. I still don't know how to pronounce that town name.
Saginaw.
Saginaw. Okay.
No. Saginaw.
Saginaw. Okay.
Okay, fine. Saginaw, if that's how you have to do it. Saginaw.
No, that's when I say it. Saginaw.
Saginaw.
There you go. Just say now, say Saginaw.
Saginaw.
There you go.
Saginaw, Michigan.
Michigan.
But no, I mean, I just...
I only know that because of Johnny Cash.
But I roll with it. That's my style, is to roll with it. And then I'm thinking, while I'm rolling with it, I'm thinking of ways of getting them back to where I want them to be. But in the meantime, I'm trying to roll with what they're doing. But I need to try and drop some carrot somewhere that will drag them back. Which is... That's how I do it. I don't say no. I don't say, unless it's specifically a one session adventure. If it is a one session adventure, for example, I recently ran Misdews for a few people, and I said it's a one session adventure. I'm going to try and pack it in so that we get it all done in 3.5-4 hours. So be aware of that. We're going to stay focused. We're not going to.
We
get
did run a
diverted.
little bit over, but we managed to get it done in one session, which is the important thing.
But that's because that was a specific one-session adventure. Forget Me Not can stretch over 3 sessions quite easily. So, hello, Slam. So there are other adventures I've seen which do it in a more clumsy manner. I will say that, I mean, Dead Light forces you to stay in one place. Okay, it gives a reason for it. It's a bit of a horror trope. It gives a reason for it. It just blocks off the roads out. But I rather let people go and then try and bring them back than say no.
Well, again, it's about, for me, it's about like how far are we deviating?
Yeah. Okay.
Am I hearing the players going, okay, we need to go, outside the city to get this, and then we're going to come back because we need this for that. It's like, okay, well, this is something I can work with. We're deviating to get back on track.
They're still intending to come back, which is key. Yes.
If it's one of the reasons why, again, like I don't mind. I'm going to use my sci-fi game that I'm starting up. The players have an actual ship. They can just up and leave when they please, which is one of the reasons why I've just been absolutely hurtling at making so much for them. That is a part of the game, meaning that when I'm going to be preparing everything, it's all still constrained, as in it's going to be within a very specific space that they're playing within. They're not going to go gallivanting across the rest of the universe. It's a very specific area that I'm focusing on, and then that is the buy-in. And then that is what the players understand. And I've recently given the document of what's happened here, what's the information you have, make of it what you want. But with that, there's got to be some, again, a work within a certain margin of tolerance, you could almost call it. How much are you going to go out? I mean, let me pick on the example of my hero game.
Like a limited sandbox, effectively.
Effectively, like I'm not going for heroic. The game that we set out to do is not going to go beyond Capital City. Like you are not going to be saving. You're not going to be saving the world. You're not going to be saving the United States. You're going to be focusing on Capital City, the events within Capital City, and then that is what we're doing. We're not rising above that. And that's that. My 5th edition group, they want to return to that world that I made, which to me that's baffling because I make and scrap worlds for each campaign. So they want to return to that, so now I've got to go on a different side of the map, and that's where they now want to do the next bit of the campaign, flesh it out, proceed on. That's how we go. Or at least
so they
how
wanted to go back to one of your previous creations.
Pretty much. And I normally, once a campaign's done, I erase it. Like, I erase the world, erase all the information, I move on. Like, I don't keep any of it. So they want to go back.
I'm coming back to goblins, but in a positive way here. Zactius. One of the things I most enjoyed about the goblins game is you allowed us that freedom initially to create.
Yeah. Go on.
Was that an exception to your usual way of playing, or was that?
I would absolutely say so. That's not like that. That it was established relatively early on in that campaign.
Yeah.
We're here to have laughs. We're here to get a little bit goofy, and I'm going to try to run the Shadow of the Demon Lord system within these criteria. As I've said a few times now, if we were to do that again, I wouldn't have the same tolerance as I did back then, because that's not how I would be interested in running that system again.
But for me,
well, you've seen how it goes, so you're not going
to. For me, that freedom of creation of our environment and our little society we had was one of the things that really made it.
I understand what you're saying.
I like that. I really liked that.
I understand what you're saying. If I were to run it again, that's not the intention.
Okay. See, I like to let players create in that sort of way when I'm DMing. If there's a player making suggestions, pushing ideas forward that fit, I like to run with them. I like to go sometimes outside the norm in terms of the way the game might go. Like, for example, with Andy's character in Call of Cthulhu, that was a suggestion of his to play him while he's mad. We'll see where it goes. And I think that was fun. I think, but yes, I think he left at the right time. I think he had run his course by the end of that last night's session. And he left at the right time.
There were a few occasions where things could have gone wrong for us. There were a few occasions where things could have gone wrong for him. But in the end, it went quite movie-like almost.
It was. Yes. It was like a story. Like a story game almost, Bear. Like a story game. A dirty, filthy story game.
I don't run story games.
You admitted you were a dirty, filthy story game.
I'm a dirty, filthy story gamer. Okay. That's not a story game. Story games, you have the conch shell. Whose turn is it to talk? It's my turn. I'm the GM for this scene. Powered by the Apocalypse is a story. It's garbage.
Okay, this wasn't a story game, but we became story gamers in that.
I like plot. I like subplots. I like interactions. I like drama. To address something that Saxis had said earlier, I sometimes, not always, with my home players I do because they prefer it now, make the characters for them and hand them to them as if we're doing a theater show or improv theater and saying, here's the character. So here's Hamlet. Show me what you do with him. You know what I mean? Here's all the background. Here's all the information you need. Right. Here's everything. Now you bring that to life in your own and unique way. And it's so much fun that one time we had a game where everybody decided, you know what? We're going to start a new game, and everyone's going to play a different person's classic character that they played. So they all played one of the other players at the table's former superhero from an old campaign. And it was bloody brilliant seeing the differences. So much so that two of the players made the new version so iconic. We were like, man, this has to be an alternate universe. We can have both of these characters exist because they're both so good, And it's fun. And I think once we get out of the mentality of, I'm the player, I deserve everything, I'm the GM, it's my way or the highway. Once we get out of those mentalities and we start being open to new ideas and new changes, we can actually get ourselves into, dare I call it, 5D role-playing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Where we try something that's a little outside our comfort zone and we actually get to experience new and exciting things. That seems interesting to me. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And I think with all of what we're talking about at the moment, having a degree of maturity, common sense, really, really helps. Really, really helps.
Two things I don't understand. Maturity and common sense. Yeah, no. Doesn't exist.
But no, I think it does. It does really, because I like to let players loose. I like to let them off their leash, but I will do that more freely and more willingly with players who I know will not push it. So we've all had players who will push it, who will try to break games, will try to disrupt everything, try to completely go off on one. And you've got to be able to, when giving players agency over the story, to use that horrible sort of term, you've got to trust them. You've got to trust them. If you've got a plot, an overarching plot in your head, you've got to trust them to be responsible.
Yeah, I trust players about as far as I can throw them.
There's one of the reasons why I vet players.
I mean, you can sometimes even the most sensible, even the most constructive of players will get distracted, will go off of a one. And yes, it's fine to just sort of prod them back in the right direction. That every player needs that occasionally, because we all do get things in our head which divert us off. When I played in Mage's game in Canada, I genuinely forgot the reason why my character was at the Keep on the Borderlands, because we were too busy role-playing hobbits, eating and drinking and having fun. I completely forgot what he was there to do, what he was there to say. Completely forgot. Mage didn't remind me till after the session. He could have reminded me during the session, but he didn't remind me till after the session. But then the next session, I had quite good fun just covering up the fact that I hadn't done what I was supposed to do. I was having to say, every time it was brought up, I'd change the subject and completely ignore what was being said and go off on a tangent to try and avoid talking.
You made that part of the character the fact that he couldn't remember why he was there.
Yeah, basically easily distracted. He had a bit of me in there. What about the shock collars? It seems like a Saxius technique using shock collars.
They're legal here in the UK.
But not in Denmark.
Correct.
Much to your consternation, Saxius.
That's all right. There are alternative ways.
There are always alternative ways
Exactly.
to get players to do what you want. And if you get them involved in role-playing at a profound level, as opposed to just the, hello, bartender, are there any rumors in town that I should know about? If you get them to stop treating NPCs like exclamation points in an MMO, you can actually use your NPCs to steer them exactly where you want them to go. Mm-hmm. Most players do not realize it. Some do, but most don't. They all love soap opera. They all adore soap opera. And if you give them soap opera, they dive in. And then once you have them, you can steer them with the soap opera to get them where you need them to go. And once you know your players well enough, you can actually try and provoke reactions that you need out of them in character.
And the key is, in order to do that, create a good blend of believable NPCs.
What a crazy idea, huh? NPCs that live and breathe and aren't just there to be fucking quest givers. What a crazy idea.
Absolutely. Create NPCs that the players will like, NPCs that the players will hate, NPCs that the players will trust and won't trust. NPCs that
the players will respond to rather than ignore, I think.
Yes.
Whether it's positively or negatively, they need to have some sort of reaction from the player.
Absolutely.
Because that's the reason the Exodus in the heroic campaign worked so well, because he actually meshed or clashed with us in a way that made us want to react.
Yep.
It's not just us, just some random dude. I don't care about him.
Okay, so years ago, I learned a couple of things in superhero games. Heroes, they don't care about your original big name hero. Okay, they care about Superman. So, for example, if Superman shows up to your superheroes and says, all right, I'm putting together a team and we have to go to the island and stop, Dr. Apocalypse and blah, 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 blah. They're like, sure thing, Soups. And they're in because it's fucking Superman. But let's say you're doing a fully homegrown universe and your Superman is a guy called Megarion. And Megarion is like the shit. And everybody knows Megarion. And Megarion's like, all right, we're putting together a thing. We're going to the island to stop Dr. Apocalypse. And listen, you're not the leader of our team, Megarion. Blah, blah, blah. But guys, it's Megarion. Everybody loves Megarion. Players will shit all over him. Inverse of that, flip the villains. They will shit all over name brand villains and be absolutely terrified of the homebrew villain you made. Case in point, I once ran a game where they were playing Avengers and they wound up having to go to Latveria and deal with Doctor Doom, and they were so rude and so insulting to him at the table. Like, it came back to bite them on the ass later, but whatever.
Yeah.
So much to the point that when they were getting onto their Quinjet to leave, one of them turned around and went, "Thank you, Latveria, good night," thinking he was funny as fuck. Another campaign where I was using homebrew, my Doctor Doom type villain was a guy called Baron Dread. And when they went to fight Baron Dread in the big climax, he said, "You fools, you cannot defeat me. My plan is already in motion. You are incapable of stopping me." 4 of the 5 players went, yeah, all right, we should go. And like one guy's like, what do you mean we should go? He goes, well, he just said that we can't beat him, and he's usually right, so we're just going to leave. This other player lost his mind, And that's the thing about players. They will do the craziest shit. And after gang a glay, Saxius, your little plans will fall apart, and you need to be able to roll with it. And you need to be able to improvise on the spot, and you need to be able to counter their crazy woo-woo shit as fast as you can. Case in point, that thing you loved I did in Heroic with the police chief, giving them shit and getting them back on point.
Yep.
Well, that wasn't planned. I had to pull that out of my ass because they were acting like morons in front of the police chief.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to be able to have that. You got to be able to. You can have your plans. That's really good. That's awesome to have. But you need to be flexible. You need to be able
and
to
I will say, Saxius, you were good at rolling with our shit in the Goblins game.
And there it is again.
But I'm saying, when he breaks it...
No. You need to be in other games that I run. Because at the moment, all I am known to you is the Goblin game.
Yes,
seriously.
We broke you out of the mold of how you come across here. And you proved to us that you can run a different type of game very well. Because it was a damn good game.
John, I have been flexible for a number of years because other players broke me before you.
Yeah.
Oh, the pain. Oh, the pain.
I'm just gonna lay this out there. Like I do know how to do improvisation.
You thought you were special, didn't you?
Yes.
I just have my preferred way of preparing.
Yes. I just thought I'd put that across. That. That's not to make you feel.
No. I am thankful for the compliment, but I do still think I need to get out of the little box I'm now in, because all I am to you is just the Goblin DM.
That's okay. All I am to him is the Codex Albana GM. That's. I think that's less about us and more about how John sees the world in simple, childlike ways.
I know it needs to be broken. He needs to be broken.
I think Elfbait's right here in saying that most players, at the end of the day, most players do have a bit of warm and fuzzy towards the tropes, because
of course they do.
It's that familiarity.
It's a lingua franca, is what people fail to understand about tropes. It allows us to speak the same language in the game or in the story, and therefore have this type of a connection. And when you fight against that, sorry, go ahead.
You can have variability within the tropes.
Absolutely, you can, and you should, and actually, I would say you must. But don't shy away from them. Like no Sorian said earlier, oh, not all players are into soap opera, but I understand your point. But you missed the point where I said once you have players who are invested in their characters to that level, they won't even notice that they're enjoying the soap opera elements. They'll just go with it naturally, like the tropes. They'll just roll with it because it's what's expected or what they think they should be doing in that situation. Also, fuck, Joker, that weird head over your head is freaking me the fuck out every time I look down. Jesus Christ, that's disturbing.
Is that better?
Fucking ghost man over his head, like he controls.
It is the puppeteer.
Nerd. I mean, yeah, I can do.
I'll punch that comment up because everyone needs to see what Nerd just said. You son of a bitch.
Yeah. Okay. Look, Goofy Goblin game will always remain in close to my heart because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's great. It's a really, really good game. But I've proved I can do something different in Bear's game.
Yeah, but the way you're proving you can do something different in Bear's game is constantly being an absolute, and I'll do it for your benefit, twat of a character.
Yeah.
And like every time Devere makes a little bit of headway, next game he falls back 5 steps. And it's just like, God damn, could this guy just grow already?
But he's not Goofy, though, is he?
No. He is overcompensation personified.
Yeah, he is the exact opposite of Goofy. Way too fucking serious.
Yes.
Well, no, he's so serious that he ends up being Goofy inadvertently. So that's why the rest of us all look at him a bit funny.
Well, it's not that he's goofy inadvertently. It's that as a character, as a player, you've chosen his agency and his control to be obstinate. Mm-hmm. Not stoic, not stiff, not stalwart. obstinate. And it's like, no matter how many times the world proves him wrong, he just doubles down on his obstinance and gets more obstinate and more set in his ways. It's insane. That campaign is fucking insane. Everybody except Iman in that game is a fucking psychopath. From your fucking obstinance, fucking Cody's whatever the fuck he's doing, plucking his eyes out bullshit. Fucking Max Liao's, well, my character's freaked out and going for a walk. You know, Malachi's this thing he does all game. You know, and Iman, halftime, we don't even have him because he's lost connection or, you know, someone's invaded his home or something.
Since I downloaded Brave, it's been better, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that campaign continues because I will tell you guys right now, the GM has no control in that campaign. It's all reacting to player choice because they are forces of fucking nature.
Well, so there is a benefit again to that, which is that it helps for the story to explain why the villains are so bewildered. As one of my other players likes to describe, the villain is being confronted by a group of 4 to 6 crackheads who are uncontrollable, high beyond belief, think of the most ludicrous way, and through sheer luck and the persistence equal to a dwarf, they managed to do feats untold before. And that's why, at least in some of the other games I've run, that the villains are generally stumped when they see these pissheads rising up, because like, who are you? You have no background. You are not a named character. I only know you because I keep on hearing complaint reports from my HR about you. I have to hire all these new, bands of orcs because of you. Do you know how much they cost? I can't outsource to goblins anymore. They moved over the mountains. You are a problem to me, to the point of where I actually need to take corporate action against you. You little twits.
You know, you just gave me a great idea for a service I'm going to offer. I'm going to create RPG HR, and we're going to rent our services out so that players can come bring their complaints about the GM. The GM can bring complaints about players, and we'll mediate the scenarios for them using a proper set of rules and regulations.
The unseen academicals.
I'm sorry, what?
The unseen academicals.
Use shock collars. That's the way to do it.
Again,
yeah, we will allow shock collars, though.
Okay. As long as we can get that.
An electrified man catcher.
No, Saxia. He's not going to go half measures.
I think it's going to really freak people up when they show up to the RPG HR meeting and I'm dressed like Zardoz. Like Sean Connery and Zardoz. Then I'll be wearing the Zardoz helmet. And they'll be like, okay, maybe this isn't going to go the way we thought it was going to go. And Saxius will be the actuary for us, just doing spreadsheets on behavior patterns.
What the hell am I looking at?
He'll do the trend analysis for sure.
Did you just look up Sean Connery and Zardoz?
Yes. What? Oh my God! What? Oh,
no, that's on you. John Borman had a hell of a vision.
How?
I'm going to look. You talk amongst yourselves.
You guys don't know Zardoz?
No.
Oh my Lord in heaven and hell!
I feel like you mentioned it before.
Bad. The gun is good. You need to watch this movie. It's an amazing movie.
I want to unsee that image.
Never going to happen.
No, it's with you now. It's going to be with me. It's worse than Borat. Jesus. Right. On that cheery note and eye bleaching I'm about to give to myself. Oh, God.
Too late, K5K. Too late, K5K. I saw it.
Yes, Charlotte Rampling, indeed.
Right.
I feel
so. So in regards for again the play agency, we've discussed that. But I think almost going back to you have to be able to trust the players. It's also worth for the players to be able to come to the DM and then discuss ideas that they have, because they do have. I am all for the player having the choices that they want. If they are approaching me and saying, "Hey, I have an idea. I would like to discuss this."
As long as those ideas fit.
See, when they approach you, you have a chance to say, "All right, I like this aspect. Can we make some adjustments for the world?" And then you get a conversation going. So it opens a dialogue, which more often than not, the player is going to get what they want, because the DM can say, "Okay, this is not something that's going to happen next session. This is not something that's going to happen in a couple of sessions. I will take this and I will bring it in, and I'll bring it into the. Take it down now. We've all seen it." So they've brought in the idea. They're now wanting to effectively fertilize the idea. They want to sort of like, what can we do? What can't we do? You as a game master, you now get an idea. What is it that the player wants? What is it that's driving them towards there? And from a player perspective, you get something that you want, and it's a win-win situation. It allows you to both have something, and especially if it's something you're trying to do, out of game, between games, sort of help cultivate for the group. It's a benefit. Heck, you can even turn around and as a group you can discuss, like, what are these ideas that I've got that we can do.
I like these sort of things to come out organically.
But they can come out organically. But what if a player turns up to you and says, like, "Hey, I would actually like to play a character from the neighboring region that we're traveling into. So what can we discuss about, like, what I would see them as?" I mean, let me use Denmark and Sweden as an example. If we were to say, like, "Oh, you're now going to travel into Sweden, like, I as a Dane, I'll have some information for you," but you can then say, "I want to be Danish. Like, what are some of the things that I would know?" I'm like, "Okay, well, let's establish where you're from within Denmark. Okay, you're from here. Well, these are the sort of things you would know. These are the sort of behaviors, and these are the sort of stereotypes that you would then have." That gives you as a DM a chance to sort of, give some information and expand on the world. And even if the player says,
that's all fair enough during character creation, but I mean, I was sort of referring to during the game. I thought you were talking about things that happen during the game.
Sure, but during the game, or they can say, "I have a plan. I have a goal. I have a goal that I would like to at around like level 8, when castles and all of these things become available. I would actually, rather than as a fighter have a castle, I'd actually like to establish an inn, like the inn that you come to in Baldur's Gate 1."
See, what I'm about that sort of thing coming in organically. I mean, I'd like to overhear the players role playing and discussing that, and in character, that player saying, "I don't think I'm made out for the military life in future, but I could see myself becoming an innkeeper one day," and have it come during the play session. That's how I like those sort of nuggets to come out.
See, I'm happy to have like entire conversations and discussions on the side with the player. But then I run my individual sessions with, like, okay, we're now here to achieve things. Character development, we can have moments where this is being discussed, but if the player, that's been talking to me about the feasibility of something, then takes the initiative to say, "Right, I actually have this idea, like, and I want to float it by the other characters. Let's hear about that." And then they have that conversation. Again, you can do both sides of this coin. The point I'm trying to make here is that the onus for this is down to the player having initiative and communication. It's not difficult to do, because all it means is that you are talking to the player, you're talking to the DM, and you're just going, "I have an idea. Does this sound feasible in your game? Does this work? Are you happy with this? Great." And then they take it into the game. They talk to other players.
I think that's for me, and I think for me, my own preference comes down to the way I compartmentalize my own life. I sort of snap into game time and then snap out of game time. And when I snap into game time, my brain is thinking game, what can I do with game this, game that, game. Whereas I snap out of game time, and I'm not really in the moment enough to pick up on it. But that's down to me.
Yeah, I mean, that we're all different in that sense. I mean, I've got workaholic syndrome.
I haven't. I haven't at all.
I have createaholic syndrome. Like, I can't stop creating. It's like a fucking disease at this point in time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I need
I'm a
therapy.
procrastinatorholic.
We know.
Only for shit I don't care about. Shit I don't care about, I will procrastinate my ass on. But stuff I care about, I'm constantly focused on it.
Yeah, I say, I mean, I'm all for players driving their character's own narrative as much as possible, even in a story style of game. But I do very much like to see it come out at the table. I mean, obviously, I've been talking to Andy a bit, but not a lot over Discord regarding what's happening with his character. Just little bits here and there, nothing excessive, nothing like no long chats. Like, for example, I know you've had with Iman and other player characters regarding heroic.
Wouldn't even, yeah. If I may interrupt, I wouldn't even say that they are long chats. I think a lot of it could basically be distilled down to maybe 2 or 3 major conversations that I would have had with Iman. The rest of it has just been either when I'm having, sitting and shooting the shit, as they say, and we just sort of go like, oh yeah, I've got this idea, and you was just like, okay, we'll ruminate about it, but it's not serious. But it's a general thing of like, I get a pitch, great. The major time we really sat down was when we were a couple of sessions in, and I was basically said, right, you've now played the character, you've now gotten an idea for your powers. Like, where do you see this sort of going? Like, are you happy with what's going on? And I mean, during one of these conversations, one of the players, Aaron in this case, who used to have a character that was very much about martial arts, now changed it on. He came out and being more of a scientist, and he's a lot more. He's enjoying it more. And he's finding that it's better with the group that we have. It's this allowed me, and in that case, for the player Aaron to sit down and go like, okay, this actually isn't working. Cool. Well, let's find out what do we want. Because that player, effectively, much like myself, would look at a group and go, where do we need to fit a hole? Like, what are the weaknesses that the group currently has? What do we need to optimize this the outcome here?
Shed time.
Sorry?
I think it's shed time.
Oh yeah, it is definitely shed time. Just waiting for him to reconnect.
Yes. What I was going to say. I mean, you mentioned the thing about optimization there.
Yeah, like my friend is basically looking at a group and then goes like, right, what do we need? What do we need to optimize this group, to optimize the play?
What game is it they're playing?
So that's for heroic. I've got another one where I've got the same player and another player who has sat throughout the entire session 0 and basically gone like, okay, who's playing what? What are they specializing in? What have we got covered? Great, I am now picking this role, not because I want to play it, but because I feel we need to have this.
See, unless I'm playing a game with serious niche protection, such as OSE, I don't really want the players to have that sort of approach.
Then I shouldn't play, because that is my approach. Because at the end of the day, the few times that I play, it's a case of where I go like, okay, I want to have fun. And part of having fun is overcoming conflict and overcoming problems. And that means we need to be able to cover our bases. If it's something like OSE or D&D, okay, we need to have one of the various classes. Great, go from there. The Warhammer 40,000. There are a couple of classes I would say if you don't pick them, okay, it's going to be interesting, but we can make it do. But there's also got more classes than what you really know what to do with. Heroic is a case of there isn't really much of you need to fit a mold. It's more of a make your character discuss amongst the other players what kind of game we're running, fit within the theme, and go from there.
Yeah.
Because it's a comic book. It's comic inspired.
So I mean, the only time I mean, niche protection and trying to fit in the party is something important in old school D&D type games. And I think it's also important, I think, for a lot of one-shot adventures. If I'm running a one-shot and I'm creating characters, I will try and create a variety of characters so that bases are covered. But in a campaign, though, I tend to just let people run what they want, play what they want.
I get it. I'm just speaking from my perspective. The few times I've been a player is I go in with the specific mindset of I must plug the hole and I'll make the rest work from there. That's, again, one of the reasons why I don't play, because I come in with these sort of mindsets. Why I think I'm better suited as a DM.
Well, you're more of an analyzer, aren't you? You're more of an analyzer, I think. I was going to say a logistician. Is that a real word?
I think so.
Logistician is a real word, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just as you know, a crap, ill-prepared, seat of my pants, spout nonsense type.
That's all right. It's your style. Wear it with pride.
How's your connection, Imam? Was it your connection playing up?
Yeah, it was the microwave. Would you believe it took them an hour and 40 minutes to use it? It's a new record.
Bloody hell. Right. Any more pointers you've got on this topic?
I think we've covered through the majority of what I had prepared on this one. Aside from that, it really just we've been sharing the tips that we have for how to sort of mediate between what the players want to do, what the game masters want to roll towards, and that's what we can really sort of do. Go on.
I'd like to ask you three, the GMs, a question.
Oh yes, please.
So you all have different levels of tolerance when it comes to herding the cats or players chasing their own tails.
Yep.
What is your preferred way of doing, like, herding the cats? Would you prefer, like, the NPCs giving them a little nudge, or do you just straight up say to them, guys, what the fuck are you doing?
Yes.
I very much break the wall down and go, right, what are you doing? Like, I will talk to you as a player. I will, if I've got a DM screen, I'll fold it down and be like, okay, what are we doing? What's going on?
I will give them nudges and hints, and then eventually at some point I'll just be like, what the fuck, guys? Seriously, why? Why are you doing this? Why? Please explain to me why this is what we're doing today.
Down.
I mean, remember the Milan chapter of...
Yes.
Yeah. Was it pretty much 2 sessions? I sat there dropping hints.
Yes.
Oh, that's the one where we missed half a dozen things.
Yes, you kept missing all the clues,
Well,
all the clues. And
to be fair, my character at that point was new to the party and didn't know anything about, and I wasn't at him. But yeah, we were there.
I will generally roll with it. Let the players give the players their freedom. And if necessary, make things up based on what the players are doing. And I will at some point, I will drop clues in there. I don't want to be the person who steps in and say, what the hell are you doing? I will try and drop little nuggets in there to steer you back.
Okay. And what if we don't pick up on them, like we didn't in Milan?
Well, you eventually did.
Yeah.
You eventually did, because they'll just get more and more blatant.
Okay, so you sort of like round Ramp it up a little bit in like obviousness every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the general idea. I might sit there and remind you occasionally, just to check the handouts you've had. I'll do that. I don't mind doing that. Just a little reminder, there's handouts in the Discord. And that usually means reread them. There's a big whopping clue somewhere in one of them that you haven't followed.
Crazy that I took the time to create these things for you as players that I might have put valuable fucking information in them. Crazy that.
I didn't create them. I just snipped them out of the PDF.
Whatever the case may be, I took the time to make sure they were in your fucking filthy gamer hands.
Yes.
Your Cheeto-stained, Mountain Dew shaking hands.
Yes. Yeah. You did miss a lot in Lausanne as well, Manfred. You're right there. But though that's more understandable. That was more understandable because of the situation. But then what you could have found in Lausanne, I'd put somewhere else, so you could still find it. Because you can do that. Works.
It worked out in the end.
Yes. So that's another. If I know a lot of you don't run Bear, you don't run published material. You write your own stuff.
Sometimes I do. Depends. I don't run published fantasy stuff because it's all fucking pointless dungeon crawling, which I fucking hate with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns. But like I've adapted sci-fi modules, I've adapted superhero modules, horror modules, absolutely.
Well, they're there to be adapted, aren't they? They are there to be played.
But fantasy modules tend to annoy the living shit out of me.
And Saxis, I know you do a mixture as well. I mean, you like your Red Hand of Doom and things like that, but you also write your own stuff.
It's because the Red Hand of Doom is the greatest adventure ever written.
It is. It's honestly, I have such a hard time picking up most of the other modules. I mean, the sci-fi game I'm starting now, I've got modules. I look at them and go like, ugh, why would I pick you up? Like there's one that I'll look at and go, I might be able to use you. The rest of them I'm looking at, this is a dungeon crawl. This is a waste of my time. Oh, this is a treasure hunt. Why? No, thank you. I'd rather just make my own stuff at that point. But yeah, Red Hand of Doom all the way. That is top tier, absolute top tier.
I said, I mean, I use a lot of printed stuff. I do a few of my own bits and pieces, but I tend to improvise around the framework provided by the printed stuff. And if they're going too far off it, then I will move things around in the printed stuff so that clues can still be found.
And what system was the Red Hand of Doom?
So it is Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition, around the 3.5 era, but you can easily adapt it into either AD&D OSE or 5th edition if you wanted to. The reason why I give it such high praises is that the designers actually have got bubbles where they say, right, let me talk to you, the game master. Here is some information you need to understand at this point. And then later on they go, hey, Dungeon Master, you know that your players are probably going to do this really dumb thing. So here is a small bar of us giving you a rundown on what's going to happen if they do that. And you got to expand on that. Just heads up. Hey, Dungeon Master, would it be, if you have a problem with how this goes wrong, here's a backup plan. Like, they really take this module through the wheelhouse and they talk to Dungeon Masters with the expectations that they might not have the full experience and that these guys have run it multiple times through both intense groups, laid-back groups, and the variety. It has been tested, and it is good. It is a good story.
So it's been stress tested, and it stands up to the...
It has been stress tested, and it's the whole thing of. I mean, hell, I've thrown it into my. I mean, you've met Aaron. He's been one of the people I've thrown this at. It has a very good story, and I would say they break the mold by saying, well, you're not doing a dungeon crawl, really. It is about the story of a big army that's going to be coming. You are going to feel like it is Lord of the Rings, the Battle for Helm's Deep, the Battle for Minas Tirith. It is a very big, important event, and it is not one battle or one moment that defines the end of this campaign. The players have got to be on point. The players have got to start going, right, we need to either be focused or we need to do this, or we need to do that. And you're not going to do everything in the campaign. You can easily cut like half. Sorry, go on, Bear. Do you want to say anything?
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, like if you go through it, and let's say the players go like, we don't want to deal with this. We don't want to deal with elves that fly gigantic owls and are battling the monstrosities of the swamps. We don't want to deal with that. Okay, well, the chapter where you're meant to go and deal with that, it's got subplot points. It's got the whole thing of like, oh, did you know war is expensive? Did you also know that the king has decided that he's going to empty several investments and treasures that he's got to fund for mercenaries to come and help? Well, you are now going to be involved in trying to secure that and to negotiate with mercenaries, dwarven mercenaries to the south, where you've got to bring it to and from. Oh, wait, and the wall's been broken. The editors now goes like, wait, but what if the players doesn't want to do that? What if they only want to do half of it? Okay, here's what you do. And that's without giving away any major spoilers. They've got like 4 other events like this that will keep you occupied for several sessions through. And then there's going to be another event that's going to bring you to chapter 3. And if the players go like, we don't want to deal with that, okay, well, here's what you're going to do instead. Well, now we're going to talk about fortifying and doing logistical setups for a major siege. You can go either one of these things. But if the players decide that we don't want to deal with these obvious designed moments, there's going to be consequences for that. If they turn around and they say, we now want to specifically focus on these things, there's going to be consequences for those things. You are always going to lose out on something.
Mm-hmm.
And as a group, you've got to be, dedicated. You've got to be like, okay, well, what do we do? And you can't waste time because the clock is ticking.
So the party have plenty of choices about how to go about things. Choices have consequences, and it sounds pretty good to me. I've never read it.
This is the time sensitive one, isn't it?
Oh yes. God, yes. There's a timer, and depending on what you do in the first quarter of the campaign, has a knock-on effect for that timer.
Oh yeah.
You can speed it up, or you can slow down the encroaching army. And
the size of the army will be determined by what you do. It's all
it's great.
Well, I've already put myself forward for when you run it. Yeah, I've already put myself forward for when you do eventually run it, Sykes.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm like, that's a game I'll play in.
Damn. Let me. Got there. Need to carve out more time.
Need more time in the world.
We've only been talking about this for a fucking year, Sax. Come on, man. It's like the first thing we ever bonded over.
Yes.
Get your petition off to the British government to change the calendar to an 8-day week with a 3-day weekend, and there we go.
It's almost like someone created a new game that we've been playing on Fridays instead.
And that's my fault?
That's not his fault. That is an absolute gem.
No, it's not your fault. It's a good thing.
No, it's my... Yeah. Either regardless.
I'm really glad you guys are enjoying it. I'll be honest. Like, as much as I'm like, God, could we stop talking about it for a while? I'm actually very happy to see people are enjoying it and playing it and having a good time with it. That really matters a lot.
No, it's a good game, and even my other real life group is very much enjoying Heroic. Like, they genuinely enjoy it, and they think that the system is super easy. Like
to put my point in perspective, it's like having a one-hit wonder and you're a band. And you're like, but we've got all these other things. It's like, yeah, but we want to talk about this song all the time. It's like, but we've done other things.
What other things would you like me to bring up? I'm happy to be your show.
Well, I just published my book on Amazon.
Oh yeah. Allow me to yoink that in.
Thank you, John.
Deadlight. Oh, is that Call of Cthulhu game you're supposed to run?
Hopefully soon. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Supposed to.
Give us a date, and I'll put it in the calendar.
Let me
Commit.
finish my prep, and I can give you a date. It'll probably be a Saturday.
How long have you been prepping for?
Well, I started prep before I got a job, so longer than 6 months now. It was going well till I got a job, and then
You don't need that much prep, brother.
Yeah, you don't.
I think I do. That's the problem, or at least I feel like I do. I don't know. One or the other.
Okay. Is there any of the DMs in here that you have done any prep work with previously on this module?
I mean, I've had discussions with John and Manfred. They've both run it.
Okay. My point is, have a session with either one of them where you sit down and go, here's my preparation, here's what I'm going to be doing. Does this sound good enough? Yay or nay? Take the pointers and go. That you're not good. You can only prepare so much. I used to prepare down to every session.
It's not so much the prep as such. It's just I want to make sure I have a good understanding of what's going on in the adventure before I try and explain it to someone who doesn't.
Okay, but do the same thing and basically go like, right, here is something. Or grab someone who is not going to be in this game and go, right, I'm going to have you be my soundboard and you are just going to listen and ask questions as we go along. And then you go there. If that's what you feel that you need to do to get the confidence that you've got it, do something like that.
There is a spare Saturday in the monthly rota at the moment because I don't have the time to run the evening OSE game because of work. Have the next one. Do it on that date.
What is that? That's the 25th?
Let me have a little look. I don't want direct messages. Duh.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got in the calendar.
Don't forget Codex Albana has to be fit in there, right? Once a month.
Yeah, that's next due for the 8th of February, isn't it?
We haven't decided, but that's what we were shooting for.
Okay. So, Iman, shall I pencil you in for the 25th of January to run that?
Go on, go ahead. Put some pressure on me. It might give me
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to add this to the calendar now. I'm going to create the event.
Well, Man's actually doing something with this life. Fucking hell.
That's something. Lower those expectations.
Oh, Andy can't do the 25th.
Raise those expectations.
Listen,
Andy can't do the 25th.
As
Andy
Jeb said,
do the
it's okay to
25th.
fail.
Yeah.
I cannot do the. You have my sword, my axe.
to.
Thursdays are no good for me. Jesus Christ. Fucking adult gaming is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Right. So a question from Grim Squirrel. Do you think, as an honest question, that too much prep can kill the game?
Yes.
Do you think it will knock it down?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think I should be answering this.
I don't think you should either, because as far as you're concerned, there's not enough prep.
61 solar systems made.
This man has spreadsheets.
500 plus heroes and villains made.
I create planets.
Yes, actually, yes. I do want to bring that up. That is insane. The amount of stuff that Heroic has got. My God.
I'm writing fiction on the Patreon for the Heroic.
Yeah. Like, do it.
Well,
that is awesome. I'm enjoying it.
I've at least got three of my players here.
What about the 22nd of February?
Yeah, should work.
Okay, shall I do the 22nd of February instead?
Go for it.
Sure. And then lock it in. Give him some time to do some preparation. Give him a chance to sit down with someone and basically go like, okay, here's what I'm going to be running through. Ask questions, and does it make sense to you what I am explaining? And then if he's doing that to someone that knows the game or doesn't know the game, that's for him to arrange. But it means that we can finally break Iman out of the shell, call him a DM, and then pressure him into running more games. Because like everything in this hobby is just like heroin. We just need to get hooked.
And all I'm probably going to say to you, at least at first, is, "Oh my god, that was effort. Get fucked."
Mm-hmm. And 2 months later, let me
Even
try
though it
again.
will be fun.
I'll give him 2 weeks.
Hey,
Given
you
the
know what
amount
that
of
means? It means
enthusiasm.
I'm going to have everything prepped. I have to have my hands ready for everything that I'm actually focusing on when I'm running.
Yeah, but this is what random random tables are for.
It is
that
done.
It is done.
I mean, okay, so Iman, have I told you that Detective Struzan, our beloved heroic character that is absolutely ripped from, that is just a Constantine ripoff. He was generated because I just rolled a random event, and I went, okay, cool. I need a character like this. Throw in for the Bing AI, and then he was generated that way. I went, okay, I like him. He's here to stay now.
There is something to be said for letting the
Yes,
dice
good point.
decide sometimes and just rolling with it.
It's, as we've seen on the many memes that comes. The players will just move all the big people aside and point at the gremlin, that little hobbit, that gnome that's got his head buried in the sand because he huffs glue. And then that is the person that they like. Absolute despicable.
Yes. The random.
I just want to say, guys,
stateless-
thank you so much. John literally just put it up, and already people have put down their interest. Guys, honestly, thank you.
Yeah.
Just do it. And if you get too many people interested, do it again.
I will. I'm already planning a second run, even though I haven't done the first one yet.
Hey, here's the thing. Do one, take a break, review.
Yeah.
Do another.
Do one.
Take a break, review.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
do
what I
one.
plan on doing.
After it's over, take the shower, cry, eat the cookies in the shower, feel better about yourself after you scrub the dirty player stink off of you, and then get back on the horse, knowing how to handle their bullshit a little bit better.
Good
And
God, what have they done to my precious adventure?
My precious adventure.
they
They
will.
ruined it with their dirty, filthy player hands.
They'll tear it apart. Whatever you have prepped, they'll tear it apart. Just
They fucked everything in my campaign universe, literally and figuratively.
yeah, but let them. Let them. Just roll with
I'm
it.
gonna.
It's a good experience for you.
I look forward to it.
So there you go. Yes. I'll be lurking as well, Manfred.
Yeah,
I'll
you're
be
welcome
lurking.
to lurk. Anyone who has
Sadly, I'll
already
miss
is already
it, but
familiar
I
with
hope
the
you have fun.
adventure.
See, Grimsquirrel says there, Seraphis destroyed her game when she tried to run one. It's what happens. It's what players do. It's part of the fun of it. Dismantling all that hard work.
Yeah, but I would again point out, when you are a player and the DM is new, as a player,
Yeah.
be a bit more human, please. Because we need DMs. There's a shortage of them, just like there's a house shortage. But the DMs are a bit higher priority.
Yes. We are more important than having a place to live. Remember that.
You know, just all that bullshit aside, maybe just remember that we are a precious commodity, and you are the ones who decide whether we keep going or not. And by not being, I'm a player, I deserve everything, and being, hey, let's communicate with the GM, and if they can, we are obligated to communicate back, we can find a happy ground together where we can actually play games and have a good time. It's not about power. That's the thing. That's the first basic mistake everyone makes about role-playing games. It's not about power. It's not a power dynamic. It's a cooperative, cumulative. It's communism.
Symbiotic.
Because communism is about power dynamics. It's about basically, working together cooperatively to create something that's really fun, and it's an excellent spending of your time as opposed to dealing with the bullshit of the world outside our windows, right? But if you sit there and go, I, well, then the GM's going to go, me, and it's all going to fucking fall apart, I've seen that happen too many times. It's sad. It's really sad. Also, If your GM wants to switch campaigns and it's your regular GM, switch. Trust your GM's passion. They will make the game better when they are passionate about it. Yeah, but I really like playing Sir Dungledork. Well, Sir Dungledork we can get back to maybe at a later point in time, but I really want to do Space Pirate Jones right now, you know? Run with their passions and you will have more fun. If you force them or you take the, well, I'm not playing bullshit attitude, you're only basically either killing your own fun or removing yourself from fun.
I mean, we do all have our own things that we enjoy, and we do all need to be realistic about that. I've made it open that sci-fi doesn't really gel with me.
I think it's more you just gel with sci-fi.
I don't gel with sci-fi, so that might be it as well. But
don't you speak bad about sci-fi, you dirty whore.
But we did have a whole stream where you eventually came up with some ideas of sci-fi games where I would play.
Because it took the basic concepts of Cthulhu, just gave it a sci-fi spin of now you're going to go out, explore this part where it's unknown, and it's an archaeological dig. And then there you go. You were like, oh yes, I'd love to do that.
Make it something a little more believable. Quite horrific. I like my characters to be fragile. I like to feel tension. And I don't
held when you're scared.
I do. And I don't like technobabble. So avoid the technobabble. Yeah.
For our beloved viewers, this is Geek's personal views of sci-fi. I, on the other hand, would like to go deep into the other side, where there is a lot of technobabble. I mean, why do you think I'm running 40k?
Why do you think I run Star Trek? Because nothing makes me happier when the players say, I think what we can do is we can bypass the trans-plasma capacitors and then run that through the influx generator, and that should give us what we need. That sounds great. Roll your engineering skill. Let's see if you succeed. Yay! Because I don't need my fucking players to have PhDs in physics to be able to fucking play a character. And if you don't like that, think about it this way, John. It's the same thing as casting a fucking spell. A bunch of bullshit words that sound like they mean something that are desiring and creating an effect. And that's where you need to get over it. And that's the only way you'll get over it is when you
fully agree.
It's just a dressing. And when you take it off, it's still the basic concept underneath.
Yep, or not. They're both gibberish. I completely understand.
I like fantasy gibberish.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing as sci-fi gibberish.
It's not the same.
Ooh, magic!
Absolutely.
Not at all. I will stamp my feet and scream and have a 2-year-old.
My high-minded, pointy-eared elf just walked into the room and told me how we should handle this situation. My high-minded, pointy-eared Vulcan just walked into my command room and told me how we should handle the situation. Wow, what a difference!
I was going to say, talking about sci-fi gibberish, most actors didn't like the gibberish they had to say.
No, well, you know why? Okay, you ever want to see the best example of that? Watch, sorry, John, we're going to sidetrack for a second. Watch everybody's beloved Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Sorry, no, never that. Never mind, that's another argument. Watch Star Trek Generations, where at the beginning, they have the original Scotty, Chekhov, and Kirk. Right. And James Doohan has to say, Captain, we could run a blah, blah, blah through the navigational deflector resonance burst that could mimic a food. And listen to James Doohan stumble over it.
Yeah.
And that's the best take of the day they went with. Think about that. Why? Because old Star Trek didn't do that.
No.
Technobabble is a 100% next-gen invention.
But it's the same in Doctor Who. It's like John Pertwee hated all the scientific words. He had to have it written on his hand or the console just to read it.
When I did Eureka, I had to say night blooming Viochia. I think that's how it was pronounced. And I'm telling you, the day when we shot that scene, oh, my fucking mouth was like, we're not saying these words. Fuck you. You know, like it was just so hard because it's just not normal speech.
No.
You know, and it's hard to act when you're having to think about the word you're saying.
Yeah, and how serious you've got to say it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nerd. I can understand Joker perfectly because he comes right by me. Don't you, Joker?
Whoa, whoa.
I used to have an accent a bit like Joker, since I sort of taught myself not to.
If anybody has a proper Birmingham accent, it's anybody but me.
Yeah, it's Birmingham. It's.
By the way, I was about to say I was going to say, yeah, your Birmingham accent sounds like you picked it up at the dollar store, but I remembered it's the UK, so we have to say Pound Town. And then I remembered how funny it is the first time we ever saw a store called Pound Town in North America. We were just like, really?
Well, it's called Poundland, but close enough.
No, there was one called Pound Town, and we used to see the memes of it on the fucking internet. They would put like pictures of it. It's like in America, just be like, Pound Town? What are you talking about? That means fucking,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that must be a smaller chain because I've not heard of that one. It's normally Poundland or Pound World. That's about it.
There was
you
got
to pay $5 before you go in.
In the early 2000s or something, that meme was floating around.
We used to have Pound Stretcher. I don't know if we still have Pound Stretcher.
Pound Stretcher?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa! Oi! Crazy country.
And then B&M is whatever you want the initials to be.
B&M?
Yes, that's a similar type of shop.
B&M. Well, I clearly see we're off topic now.
I think we've exhausted the topic, and
John
doing his usual
the topic.
John doing his usual magic steers it right off the rails into the swamp and steering it through the swamp, ignoring all the laws of physics because he defies sci-fi.
I respect that about him, though. His ability to drive us into the smut valley is just amazing.
That is England.
Close your eyes and think of England, darling.
Fuck.
Only if they were dodgy shops, they're just cheap shops, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, yes, we do eat spotted dick over here, Manfred.
Only when you can see it.
Never had it.
You can get a shot and clear it right up.
Yeah.
But Manfred, you also live in a country where everybody likes their sausage.
Lord, they're Wieners, yeah?
Oh, I come from the Wiener. Yes. Joy. So, have we completely exhausted this topic? We completely exhausted.
I don't have anything further to add into it.
I don't know. Let me stare at the title for a few minutes.
No.
Chat,
I just hang out because no one loves me.
Oh,
good grief.
Chat, if you have anything to add to the topic, add something, chat.
Okay, I got a question.
Go on then.
The line between allowing a player to roll for something and just saying, okay, yeah, this is what you see or this is what happens. Player choice versus GM control. Like if the player wants to roll dice.
If they do not see what you want them to see, can the story or the plot continue? That's a simple question you need to ask yourself. If they do not get this clue, can the plot continue? If yes, have them roll. If no, give them the fucking clue.
Also,
got it.
Is there a realistic chance of failure or a consequence?
I just ask myself, like, what's stopping them from just spending the next 30 minutes doing it? Like the Call of Cthulhu question of like, well, can I just take 10? Oh, sorry, no, that's Pathfinder. Whoops, wrong system.
D20.
Yeah, D20. Yeah. So where they just go like, well, I just do this. It's like, well, they've got all the time in the world. They will eventually, like, if I give them 10 minutes, they'll just keep on rolling and they'll get a pass. Great.
In my opinion, Iman, a player should not seek to roll as often all the time. A player should seek to get their character in a situation where no roll is required, because a roll gives a possibility for failure. Failure can be fun, but if you do something absolutely correctly, I won't have you roll for it.
Okay.
Yep.
Goals before rolls.
Let me give you an example for this. So, Iman,
okay.
In the heroic session that you've just been in, the majority of the rolls took place when you were doing your investigation.
That's correct.
No other rolls were touched till then.
No,
because you were in a situation where passing and failing had the consequences to change what was going on. There was a change. There was a moment. Yeah, there was a moment for something to either stopping you from proceeding, or your failure would lead to consequences directly to you. Ergo, that's the time where I at least saw that. Right, you now need to bring this out.
Yes, this needs to happen at some cost to you if you succeed. Almost.
Also, you got to think about time.
Like pressures. I had to spend karma to pass those rolls. You know. Also,
you got to think about time pressures. Things that would be easy to do with all the time in the world. If you're now under duress, you got more chance of failure. You've got to think of the situation.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And is there ever a situation where you would say, like someone role plays something so well that you would, if you were going to say, okay, roll for something, you just go, do you know what? That was fucking amazing. Yeah, you just get it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you make a really compelling argument, it's going to succeed. If there is a roll, it'll be heavily weighted in your favour. And even then, failure might not mean failure. It might just mean 95% success.
Or success with consequence.
So, yeah. Success with a slight caveat, maybe.
That's not success, you dirty bastards.
It's not complete.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. There can be degrees.
Just redefining the parameters of success.
Until it's come by chance, guys. Yes, we can talk about all the crazy names in Newfoundland if we really want to. Now, thankfully, come by chance is spelled C-O-M-E, so that's a safe one. Dildo, on the other hand, I don't know if it's true or not, but the northern part of the town decided they wanted to be their own municipality, so they had a referendum to cede from Dildo. They did, and renamed themselves North Dildo. So, make of that what you will.
Nothing good.
That may be bullshit, but I remember hearing it when I was a kid, and I was like, what the fuck is going on in Newfoundland?
We could have called it upper dildo, lower dildo, inner dildo.
Hey, where you put your dildos is your business, sir.
That's the dildo.
UFC.
High dildo, low dildo.
Going around in Speedos.
We've gone full circle.
We've come full circle.
Was that before the stream?
Obviously.
That was before the stream. That was when you were making the joke of like, how long can we watch UFC until it becomes
until we become gay. 3 seconds.
Yes. I
mean, I will say I didn't quite enjoy it at first because it did feel, a bit wrong, but there is a technical aspect to it that I now appreciate where I didn't before.
Okay, were we talking about gay love or
no, we're talking about cage fighting.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Because I was like, wow, that's a big reveal. Are you sure you want to do that publicly?
It's about the fact he enjoys.
Well, you guys make me feel so safe,
well, that's the job of the NAA is to make you feel safe, and then we'll club you
with a dildo.
With a dildo.
Help.
Poor Sax is just like, what am I doing here? Fuck.
Yeah, at least he's not in the middle.
Can we change that?
Oh God! Now there's the sandwich.
See, this. Thank you, Iman. Thank you. Sorry, it's the whole thing. No, you're not
logic
sorry.
In real life.
No, you're not sorry. You've done what a player does, which is you speak without thinking.
Now he's in the middle, but why am I on one end?
So we can annoy him from either side.
You were about to say something else. I'm sure you were.
Eiffel Tower. Anyway.
There we go. Thank you.
Bar. Anyway, I don't know, man. I think gaming has become way too fucking serious for some people, and they've lost sight of the hobby aspect of it and the fun aspect of it.
Absolutely.
And it really bothers me when I see that, because it's meant to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I am serious when it comes to my games.
And you can take the game serious. I just meant the concept of gaming being treated like it's life or death, like it's identity. It's like, whoa.
The thing is, we take the game seriously, but we still have fun.
Yeah.
It's not
there are people who don't. Is my point.
Right, you have to be serious. It's like we're being
I
serious
think
about the game.
the point Bear is going towards, and I'm going to use myself as an example here, is like I would have periods where I'm like, okay, well, I will skip sleep so that I can have this be done. I will go out of my way to then, answer all these questions to my players. I will not do this homework because I need to focus on this here instead. Or my personal favorite was when I sat like an hour and a half outside of my local library in the middle of December.
Oh yeah,
freezing my ass off because I needed to host a session to make sure we could proceed on with the next game. Those are the things I have done where it's like, all right, well, that clearly was not healthy and it was an obsession. It's dialed down, thankfully, and it's just been reinforced towards run the games in a certain way instead.
Yeah, I mean, I have tendencies to obsess over things, and I think it's good to sort of break that obsession and just take things casually. And personally, I don't think mentally I'd still be up to GMing as much as I do if I took things as seriously as you do, Sacrius, in terms of audio preparation, because I have to sort of break myself out of that mindset. As I said, I have certain times when I focus on certain things. And if I allow that to change, then I'm all over the place.
Yeah, but you are also very much in love with your routine. You know that you have got, I think I'm getting this right, ADHD. With your attention.
I'm on the spectrum. The spectrum.
So you
both.
Yeah.
So you're very low on the spectrum because of your height.
Low blow.
Yep, the lowest. But I had to reach down.
You
can't punch up with John. It's always punching down. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
Oh, what's wrong, Bilbo?
But it's what it is that works for you. End of the day, yes. I don't. The way I run my games is the way I run my games. I've had to learn that over many years of trial and error, as well as having burnouts. That some things just didn't work. I mean, not to mention that I, more or less sort of went like, well, gonna have other focuses while I'm at university. Not at the best of choices. In hindsight, we've done a lot of different things, but I didn't. And here I am, having learned from that. Hopefully I can pass that on to someone else.
Yeah. And as Bear has said many, many times, all games are different.
Sorry.
All games are different. All people enjoy different games. Play the games how you enjoy it. Play the games with people you enjoy playing with. Do what is fun to you.
Look, take Major's Musings, Sean, right? He and I have very different GMing styles. We have very different GMing styles. But every time we've played together with, he's been in one of my games, or when we play with Cody as the GM, we have fun.
Yeah.
Because the principles are still the same.
Yes. Absolutely. The temperature in my attic tonight is about 10 degrees. It's okay tonight.
Oh, dear God.
It's all right.
I'm sure we need to send him a blanket soon so he can stay warm.
Do you need a blankie? I'll send you a blankie from Canada.
I'm okay with
need
just
one of these, bro.
One hoodie. 100. It's about 10 degrees. I'm fine.
It's only minus 13 here tonight. It's quite mild.
You've got heating in your house.
Yeah, I don't turn it on though because I'm well insulated and I like it. I run cold. I like things to be a little bit colder.
I mean, I like.
Where the hell are you, Manfred? Brazil? 27 degrees.
Germany? Yeah.
The hell's happening in Germany? Has all that hot air finally been released? The Germans all exhaled at one time?
They're farting after eating too much sausage.
Too much bratwurst. You know how much a fucking Hudson's Bay blanket goes for these days, Slan? Come on, bro. I ain't spending that money. I love them, but not that much. Jesus Christ. I could buy like 4 pieces of art for Heroic for the cost of one of those fucking blankets. Unless you mean the new shitty ones that aren't that good. I mean, I'm talking about the old nice wool ones.
So, yeah. Has everybody caught up on Mage's latest video?
No.
No.
I barely catch up on my own videos. Come on.
You disappoint me. You disappoint me.
You're okay. Well, you know how we all.
Why are you having expectations of me? I've been living in a hole this last few months.
What, you mean Denmark?
No, not my mother country. I've been busy with my life, and I'm establishing a couple of new campaigns, as I've mentioned many times on your stream to your face.
Yes.
That you decide to ignore.
61 solar systems.
Yes. That's been ordered how many times?
I make planets. This was the picture.
John, pay attention. Players must die.
Yes. I'm looking forward to the next one, Slan. I am looking forward to the next one. This is Slan's cameo in the next one. Yes. My cameos are done for a year. So you won't see the sweet Bumble Stump for a while yet.
You might see me at Clericon this year, hopefully. And then you'll find out, Bear, that I'm not much taller than John.
That's okay. We'll just get me and, Father Aaron and Sean, and we'll just all stand around you guys and make you feel real short. We'll be like, we're here for some trouble.
They're all 6'2", 6'3", so yeah, come on. You and your average height, you're about 5'9"-ish.
5'8", yeah.
5'9", 5'9", yeah.
5'8". I'm not 5'9", definitely not. I don't pretend
5'8".
to be taller than I am.
Slightly below average height, but not too short.
I'm all right with it.
No,
yes, Andy is also like 6'2", 6'3".
I wasn't conspiring to steal the loot. I shared it with an NPC. It wasn't a lot. It was only 50 I saw. Anyway. Yeah, we have hammered this topic.
Hammered it, man. We tag teamed it, Eiffel Towered it, took it. We did everything to this topic. This topic is done.
The horse has been beaten until it's a skeleton.
Oh my god, it's been beaten back to life. That's how much it's been beaten.
So if you want a Slan face reveal, come to Clericon. I know it's a long way for you to travel. I set a precedent by crossing one ocean. I'm sure. I mean, it's a bigger crossing from Australia. You will see Slan there. That's where you get the Slan face reveal. Yes, Mage says player choice all the way, baby. I did talk about how you run your game. I did earlier talk about how you run your game, Sean. It's a case of it's an emerging story. There are plots, multiple plots seeded in, and whichever ones come to fruition and how they come to fruition depends entirely on what the characters do and what the dice say. It's a very free-form style of DMing, very different to what Saxius does, and different to what Bear does. But we did establish earlier that there has an overarching story, but things go all over the place inside it. Is that right there? You wasn't paying attention. I said you haven't.
Someone asked me a question on Discord, so I was answering them. What was the question you asked me?
I said as we established that you tend to have an overarching story and theme, but things go all over the place inside it.
Oh, yeah, and the story rarely ever gets where I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. So, just recapping for people who've missed. Yes, it would have been your sort of topic to join in. Would have been your sort of topic. So, plans for gaming over the next few weeks. Anybody got any games coming up? Anybody got things they want to do?
I have a game tonight. We're doing Savage Pathfinder on my channel, and yeah, there you go.
Savage Pathfinder.
Yeah, it's Pathfinder, but with Savage Worlds.
That'll be a hell of a combo.
Is it Pathfinder rules?
I'm sorry, what was that, John?
Is it Pathfinder rules, basically?
Destroy my fucking elbow every time I bring this out.
Right, the box, the introduction one.
Savage Worlds rules with some really interesting Pathfinder adjustments set in the Pathfinder world.
Okay, nice. That's the better way round then. So I was worried that it was going to be the Savage World with Pathfinder rules. I'm not a fan of Pathfinder.
The only Pathfinder rules I will ever use is Pathfinder Beginner Box 1E. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. How it was a really good starter box.
Amazing starter. One of the best starter boxes I've ever seen, especially for the price. It was selling for like $40 or something when it came out. And it was like, it was worth like, the product that was inside that they gave you was easily $100 worth of product. It was insane.
So, Saxius, what you've got coming up?
A lot. I am going to be running weekly games from here on out. My Sunday group has changed it from being once every 2 weeks to now being every week that they want to play. So I've got Heroic Friday, Warhammer 40,000 Saturday, and for a short period the Witcher campaign, and then we'll be back to 5th edition Sunday.
Busy.
Yeah.
Now, Iman and Joker, you two, I believe, have both been playing in Tomb of Horrors recently.
Yes.
How have you been finding that?
Well, I died, got turned into a woman. There was evil. Then I went back in and came back, and still an old woman, but I was neutral. And
neutral.
I'm still a woman. But yeah, it's very good.
So I walked into the devil mouth and I died.
You got resurrected.
Reincarnated.
So I'm guessing you walk through archways then, Joker.
Well, first we died in a kind of a skull on a wall and a big hole.
Yeah, the infamous devil mouth. Yes.
A glorified glory hole, bigger than and then we got resurrected. Then later on, we come into a room where there was this entranceway that was full of fog, and I think if I remember rightly, we got it down to the fact that I was the one with the strongest, highest strength that could possibly survive whatever. But
so they made you walk through it. Yes.
No, I voluntarily walked into the mist. I lost my paladin when we died through the mouth. So I was basically a normal human. Turned into a female orc. Was it, Iman?
Female half orc.
Half orc. There was chaotic evil. Went in again. Stayed as I am, but when neutral.
Who's playing the cleric in this game?
Dan.
have words with him about his choice of spells.
No.
Oh, Straw's been doing that because he's playing the wizard.
No, the cleric.
But we've all got a group chat.
Have words with the cleric about his choice of spells.
Stop helping them.
Okay.
Let them listen. Let me repeat myself. Player characters, they need to die.
One more time.
Die.
Wow.
God dang it, John. Don't help them. This is their time to shine. This is their chance to get in there and get the experience that we have been given.
And on that note, what's happening Friday?
Friday night, I'm going to be streaming the Choose Your Own Adventure we did a few weeks back. The third part of the Death Trap Dungeon series. Saturday, I'm running MERP. And you're all heading east towards Moria to see if you can get the help of the dwarves. And then we've got Call of Cthulhu next Tuesday. That's my week coming up. I didn't stream last Friday. No, it was too cold. It was too cold.
Too cold.
I haven't got any insulation in the attic, so I'd have been up here chattering or trying to read. So, yeah, my little heater just didn't cut that. So,
the microphone's being used again.
I have a little heater. It's there, but it's only little. You see it? There, that little.
Get a better one.
Yeah.
Get the 2-bar halogen heater, the one I use.
I had a better one, but it blew up. It went, stopped heating. Just sat there pivoting, not putting out any heat. Which is really annoying. So I'll stream Friday. And we'll have another topic for next Wednesday. I am, once we've done this particular book, I want to reprise the AD&D shit modules campaign. So those of you who played in my shit modules streams, I'd like to bring that back. And
I mean, we could have more westerly wind in a north direction.
Yeah, but and I think I'll probably run Red Sonja. Which is a dreadful adventure. It's truly dreadful. We'll see. Or shall I run something good? Don't know. We'll see. Cheers, Sean. Cheers. But yeah, we'll do that soon afterwards. I mean, probably February sometime. I'll arrange for another 4 sessions in a module to see if it's as bad as everyone says. But I do want to use those Friday sessions as well to give me a chance to review modules I've never run before. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to run UK 6, All That Glitters, UK 7, Dark Clouds Gather, D1, Descent into the Depths of the Earth, D2, Shrine of the Kuatoa, and D3, Vault of the Drow. How well those will run on a stream, I don't know. Those should be 5 good modules. I believe they'll be good anyway. I've never run them. And I see those of you who are currently playing Tomb of Horrors, D1, D2, and D3 are very high level adventures. You need to get your playing chops up to scratch to be able to play high level characters in those. Have a chance of surviving. Anyway.
Well, if it's on Friday, I'll be busy doing heroic.
Well, we shall see.
What a shame. Oh no, looks like I'll have to miss out on the shit game and play the amazing game.
Yeah. I could also run Forget-Me-Not on a Friday.
Oh, I still.
Oh, now you're making it difficult for me. Why you got to do that?
Yeah, well, we shall see. Or I might run Forget-Me-Not on a Wednesday. Don't know. These are all things I'm thinking about for the future.
What? And miss out on you two arguing?
3.
Or even us, or even me and you now. Get a chat to miss out on that.
I think it'd be great if those two would play in that game.
Which two?
The two to the side of me.
What do you want me to play in?
I mean, I'm mulling over the idea of having a few Wednesday streams where I run Forget-Me-Not, my favourite Call of Cthulhu adventure.
What's that?
It's a Call of Cthulhu scenario.
No, I'm not interested. Thanks for the offer.
Okay.
I have no interest in playing Call of Cthulhu ever again in my life.
Okay.
I played literally the greatest. I told you before, and I told you what happened. It was literally the greatest single Call of Cthulhu experience I ever had, and I was like, well, that mountain's never going to be fucking higher, so I'm going to quit while I'm ahead.
Fair enough.
Now, if you were running something interesting, I might be interested.
Well, you're making an exception for me, though.
No, sure, I can't. I don't have time to play in your game.
Okay.
I've said this tonight twice. I just don't have time.
Okay.
I wish you well, and I know you'll succeed. Is John playing?
I know the adventure. Yes,
okay. Is Saxius playing?
He recommended it to me.
Then you're fine, because you won't have the 3 assholes on this panel who think we know everything about role-playing in your game to make you feel uncomfortable.
You're all welcome to lurk, regardless.
I've offered to lurk and offer him advice if necessary.
Worst idea possible. Say no, Ayman. Learn from your errors.
I'm going to.
Don't take his advice. If he starts giving you advice, say, shut up. Not your game. Shush, I'm driving. Don't let him tell you stuff.
I will sit there silently and only be called on if required.
Now, if you get stuck and you need a helping hand, that's different. But the secret to being a DM is to fucking DM. Or GM.
I don't plan to lead him in any way. That's the thing. I don't plan to do that. I don't want to put pressure on him either. James, there is room for both.
I'm not going to be relying on you, don't worry. But it'll be nice to know that if I do end up in a situation where I get stuck, that you've heard everything that's going on, and you can just be like...
Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Anyway.
I'm there to help if necessary.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, but just... James, we hammered it out, and we have different preferences. There is room for both, and there's little things that DMs do to. We let the players choose, and then sometimes drag them back to what we wanted. Anyway, and they don't always know they're being dragged back. There's just little things, little NPCs in there to prod them along the way, that sort of thing. Little events you can throw in just to pull them back, get them focused. And yes, I will laugh at it. I will. I fully intend to. Right. I personally, I think this stream is beginning to peter out. So we are waffling. We are waffling, and I see no need to just sort of continue to midnight just for the sake of continuing to midnight.
No.
So, is there anything you wish to shill?
No.
Okay. Right, we did cover some constructive stuff earlier on, and if you're not already aware, one of us amongst us here will be running his first game very soon. So, Iman, if you need any help, anything, if you want to talk to anyone about ideas beforehand, I'm here. Manfred will be here. We both know the adventure. So feel free to ask.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Ultimately,
Be right.
do it your own way. Ultimately, do it your own way. Just you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. Don't stress. Don't over prepare. Just be flexible with it.
Like I said, it'll be right.
Yeah.
Whatever happens,
Right.
it'll be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've all been there. We've all been there. Apart from Joker. Joker, you've not DM'd anything before, have you? No. He looks terrified at the idea. Right. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Thank you, chat. It seemed like a good idea to get off and get some kip and just generally be sensible about my bedtimes at the moment. So I'm going to be heading off. And I'll see you Friday when we do another Fighting Fantasy book. Well, continue the same Fighting Fantasy book we won last time. I've been the old geek. We've had Sapsius, Bear, IQ, and Joker here tonight. So, good night. Good night. Cheers all.
Good night.
I won't dream fondly of Zardoz. You buggers.
Zardoz.